Yates Cup, presented by Milk to Go Sport on CHCH. Now here's your host, Marshall Ferguson.
Welcome everybody to TD Waterhouse Stadium, the home of the 111th Yates Cup Championship, brought to you by Milk to Go Sport on CHCH TV. Thank you for joining us. It is a perfect day for playoff football in the OUA to crown a champion today. And who better to join me than a couple of guys who know a whole bunch about the OUA and, of course, the Yates Cup Championships as well. Andy Fantus, former Heck Crichton Trophy Award winner, alongside me, as it's been hard to get a word in with Andy here. He's walking around. People want to talk to him, high-five him, hug him, whatever. And Jake Reinhardt, who knows a whole bunch as well, current Toronto Argonaut, about big games here in the OUA. Guys, this is a beautiful day. I know it's cold. I know it's chilly. But the players are bundled up, so are the fans. They're ready to go. How are we feeling? This is an amazing environment, isn't it? Andy, you're used to it at TD Waterhouse Stadium, but it is a great spot for a game like this.
Oh, you said it, Marshall. There's snow in the air. It's playoff football. It's November football. This is so much fun. I miss it. I get the jitters coming back, and like you said, I see a lot of familiar faces all around, and it's so nice to see Western back in the Yates Cup again.
And Jake, your final game was 2012 in the Yates Cup. That was on the road, just like it is today for the Guelph Gryphons, but they travel as well as anybody in the OUA. The fan group that comes alongside the Gryphons is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, even today, just seeing all friends I haven't seen in a while and parents. I mean, everyone from Guelph just rolls down the 401, so it almost feels like a home game here in London.
It certainly does. Now, looking at the actual X's and O's of this thing, guys, Andy, for you, 8-0 on the season are the Western Mustangs, dominant, and just about every phase of the game that you can possibly imagine is they've played so well, game in, game out. You're looking at it now and you're seeing how they've played and how dominant they've been. How have they been able to get to this point in the season, 8-0 and playing so well?
Oh, definitely a well-oiled machine. I mean, they're coming off a national championship. They're undefeated. They have a lot of returning players, and you know what? I think, to me, it starts with their defense. Fraser's the stand-up defensive player of the OUA. He leads that squad, flying around, making plays, and you know. And then they obviously have Chris Merchant, one of the toughest players in the country, the 1-2 punch, and Joseph and Taylor, and a receiving core that has a lot of weapons for Merchant. Offensive line, very strong. So, like you said, all around, great team, and it all starts with the coach and that defense to me. As
you say, they begin the regular season 8-0 at this point. They get themselves into a spot now where they had a bye in the semis, and then they beat Carleton at home by a score of 39-13. Jake, for the Guelph Gryphons, they've had to battle through some adversity to get to this point. They are 5-3 on the season, but a bunch of close losses in the regular season. They go into a shootout against the Waterloo Warriors in the first round of the playoffs. They win that, and then they come back and win on the road against Ottawa in the second round of the playoffs. Here for you, what is it about the Guelph Gryphons and the way they fought through in the regular season and the first two rounds of the playoffs here that gives them an opportunity against this dominant Western team?
Yeah, that's right. You said it. They started the season kind of slow with 3 losses early on, but I mean, those were tight losses by combined 4 points. They've been on a bit of a roll here the last 5 wins they've had, and like you said, in tight against Ottawa last week, a late come from behind victory. So they're showing a lot of guts, and we'll see if they have what it takes here today.
Now, the Yates Cup is a special day for anybody who plays OUA football. We all understand that. It's much more special at the end if you get to walk off with that massive, heavy trophy. But for you guys being involved in big games like this, what does the Yates Cup mean to you?
Well, this is what you prepare for all year round. This is what you train for all off season. So it comes down to this matchup. Unfortunately, I came on the losing end of it, so I've seen the other side of it, and you know, it's a heartbreaking moment. And you're walking off that field and going in that locker room. I never wish that on any young player. So definitely lay it on the field. Play like it's your last game. You never know if you're going to have another chance.
As we get a little bit of pageantry coming out here from Western, as Andy's all used to that. Look at that. The smile on Fantus's face comes alive as the band makes their way out. As we get inside the players' minds here, Jake, for you, who is the player for you that you think is most ready for this moment when it comes to the Guelph Gryphons? Because they've got a bunch of playmakers all over the place, as proven through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs.
Yeah, they sure do. You said it. I think the player that comes to mind would be Luke Corll. He's a 5th-year player, star on that defense. He racked up the most tackles this year in the conference. And, I mean, this is his last year, could potentially be his last game. So, you know, a player like that's going to leave it all out on the field today.
Yeah, there's a lot of memories to be made, especially for these 4th and 5th year guys. And Andy, I'll finish off by just asking you about, you've been in the CFL, down the road, Chatham, you were a Tiger Cat for a long time. People know what you are to this program. What is this program to you? Coming back and getting to have an opportunity to celebrate a Yates Cup at home like this with an 8-0 football team, what does that mean to you?
Well, I'm just honored to be here at Western. I really enjoyed my time here. I had a lot of support all throughout Southwestern Ontario, throughout my career, and it began in Chatham, like you said. And so coming back to my old stomping grounds, it gives me the jitters, and I'm already warm just thinking about it. So it's keeping me warm.
I also was talking to the CEO of the OUA, Gord Grace, before we got up here to begin the proceedings this afternoon, and he was saying, you know what, I was the best football player at my high school in Chatham, and then I ended up having Andy come in and just smash every record that was possible out there, as we all know what Andy did in the CFL and the OUA as well. It is a great matchup, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. For you, maybe one player, Andy, that you think has to step up here for the Western Mustangs, because we know across the board there's guys, whether it's the quarterback, if it's the two running backs, if it's Fraser Sopick, who was a standout in the Vanier Cup last year as Western looks for back-to-back Vanier Cups. Who is that name that you think needs to step up and could have a big afternoon?
I'm going to go a little against the norm here and say first-year defensive end Deontay Knight has to contain that quarterback, very mobile player, and if he can contain him along with the other defensive end, then I think that those linebackers will be able to flow to the ball and contain their Guelph's strong running game, and that defense should be able to keep them in check.
Running game is certainly going to be the story on both sides of the football, we'd have to think, in this ball game. And Jake, for you, one name that you think maybe against the grain a little bit that matters, that's going to be a player that you're going to want to know today?
I think John Paul Simonkinda, the running back, as of late, the last 3 games, he's just been on fire, rushing the ball real well. And I think with the weather the way it is, it's a little cold, a little windy. Guelph might be more likely to run the ball, especially early on. So I think Simonkinda is going to be fit for a big game today.
And we get the Guelph Gryphons starting to make their way out to the football field. There's nothing like the pageantry of a big football game. And in the OUA, there is no bigger football game than the Yates Cup, standing in solidarity, arm in arm, getting themselves set to take the field as they hope to pull the upset today against the Western Mustangs, 5-3, and they are fired up and ready for the challenge at hand, as they are led out of the locker room by Todd Galloway, head coach, and of course being able to have themselves Theo Landers at quarterback, as you'll see him all over the field today in the icy whites, Jake. Lots of different options on the uniforms. They decided to go with the whites. Any thinking behind that?
I'm not sure, but they sure look good on the guys today.
They certainly do, and the Western Mustangs readying themselves to come out of the tunnel in just seconds. Andy, I got to ask, when did the massive inflatable W come to life? Because it has become the iconic part of this entrance for the Western Mustangs.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun coming out of any tunnel, but when you have that big horse with the smoke coming out of it, man, it gets you fired up. Here we go.
8-0, here they come, the Western Mustangs, the defending Vanier Cup and Yates Cup champions, looking to put their name once again on both trophies in 2018 with a veteran-laden group and a couple of those great young recruits that Greg Marshall is known to be able to bring in so smoothly over the last couple of years. As we get set for kickoff, and you see there down on the field, it is Chris Merchant ready to move. As we head for break, we'd like to be able to thank all of our service members around the world, as we thank those that continue to fight for our nation's pride and also those that have passed in service of our country.
From the pioneering days of television, we've been committed to local news. We don't just cover your community. For us, this is home. But it's not about us. It's about what's relevant to you. It's about staying connected and providing news that makes your life richer and more rewarding. Local, relevant, connected. CHCH is proud to be your trusted news leader.
Comwave is knocking out the competition again. Introducing the Comwave Triple Play. Get your home phone with unlimited local calling, unlimited internet, and TV with over 75 channels, all for only $89.95 a month.
That's right. Get all 3 services: home phone, unlimited internet, and TV with over 75 channels, including TSN, Sportsnet, W Network, CNN, and more. All for only $89.95 a month. Call now and get up to 6 months absolutely free and no charge for installation.
So let me get this straight. I get a home phone line.
Unlimited internet, so no more overage charges.
TV? With over 75 channels? All for only $89.95 a month?
Now that's a great deal.
It's time to knock out the big phone and cable companies with ComWave.
Call 1-866-518-5321. That's 1-866-518-5321. Call now.
There's one room in the house that everybody wants all to themselves. It's the me time room, the new look room, the bathroom. Keeping it clean? Well, that's a never-ending job. CLR Bath and Kitchen makes it easy. Its fast-acting foam spray works on cloudy shower doors, makes faucets sparkle, and porcelain and tile gleam without phosphates, ammonia, or bleach. It even carries the EPA Safer Choice seal. And like the name says, Bath and Kitchen is also perfect for the other most important room, the kitchen. Anywhere there's buildup, Bath and Kitchen cuts right through. It tackles everything from hard water deposits to dulling film and grime. CLR Bath and Kitchen, making the world a little cleaner.
At Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, Home Depot, Zayre's Loblaws, Rona, Metro, Sobeys Foodland, Shoppers, Lowe's Ace Hardware, Rexall Pharma Plus, Giant Tiger, Walmart.
Welcome back to the 111th Yates Cup Championship, everybody. Marshall Ferguson alongside Andy Fantuz and Jake Reinhardt as we, of course, celebrating November 11th coming up tomorrow, Remembrance Day. Guys, a big game here today, though, on November the 10th, as it is the Yates Cup Championship live at TD Waterhouse Stadium. Just quickly for you, predictions that you got for the ball game, Andy?
Well, I think it's going to be a gritty first half, and but as the game goes on, I think Western's toughness will start wearing the Guelph defense down a bit, and Cedric Joseph will have a big game, and Western will come out by double digits.
All right, Andy's got Western. Shocking. Shocking, Andy's got Western. Jake, for you, the Guelph Gryphons, what are you seeing?
Yeah, you know I got to say Guelph's going to take this game, but I see it as a low-scoring affair. Two of the top defenses in the conference, so I'll say 21-17 for Guelph.
That is it for us down here in the pregame show. Andy, Jake, thank you so much for it. It is kickoff. Next, it's time to head up to the booth to the incomparable Mark Lee and a guy that knows a thing or two about a big game right here in London, Ontario. It is Donovan Bennett and Mark Lee.
London, Ontario on a gray day in November. A familiar football landscape as the unbeaten Western Mustangs meet the resilient Guelph Gryphons in the 111th Yates Cup, presented by Milk to Go Sport. And it's playoff weather this weekend. The temperatures hovering below freezing with a wind chill to -10 right now. Winds out of the north and flurries in the forecast. Welcome to the 111th Yates Cup on CHCH. I'm Mark Lee with Donovan Bennett. And Donovan, the Mustangs have been ranked #1 in the nation since the beginning of the season. Is there any reason to think they can be stopped now?
Well, they certainly don't think they can be stopped now. This is a confident group. Self-esteem not an issue in the Mustang locker room, led by a confident coach. And think about the psychology of winning the Vanier and coming back as #1. Every game this year, they were expected to win big. So afterwards, they were relieved. This is the first game this year where after they win, they're going to be exhilarated to lift a trophy. They're ready for the competition.
How about Guelph? They were 2-3 in the first half of the season, some close losses, but they've won 5 in a row and they've got momentum.
They do, and the key thing is all of those games for them were virtually playoff games. They had to win for the right to play in this game, so they know that their backs are against the wall. They are excited to keep that streak going all the way to the Vanier.
All right, let's get to your Centaur keys to the game.
Yeah, well, for Western, it's simple. This is November football. They know about this. They want to win first down, running the ball and stopping the run, making second down manageable on both sides of the ball. For Guelph, in this building, you've got to get 7s, not 3s. They got a great kicker. Leave him at home, got to punch it in, and special teams is going to be big, and trick plays are going to be big. No reason to save them. They're going to see them in the game today.
Guelph quarterback Theo Landers is a superb athlete. He led his team in rushing during the regular season. But today, this quarterback will get a real test against the OUA's best defense.
It's tough to play against the defending champs because they're a well-coached team. They have a really good defense, high-powered offense. A guy that I'm going to be going to a lot today is Cade Bielek. He's a really dynamic wide receiver, and he's going to help us a lot today. To win the Yates Cup today, we need to eliminate turnovers, put the ball in the end zone. That's about it.
Western quarterback Chris Merchant was the MVP of last year's Vanier Cup, capping an unbeaten season. And so far this year, he's pitching another perfect season, and he's full of confidence coming to this Yates Cup.
For us to win the Yates today, we just have to execute, stick to our game plan, get the ball in the hands of our athletes, and make sure we don't turn the ball over. I trust all the guys around me, and I know that as long as I get the ball in their hands, they're going to do what they have to do. So, yeah, as long as they don't cover somebody, we just got to get the ball in their hands.
Merchant has been outstanding this season, number 2 in the OUA in terms of passing behind Trey Ford, who ran away with the OUA MVP honors this year. But there are starting quarterbacks, brought to you by Wilson.
And the crazy thing about Merchant is Trey Ford completed 74% of his passes. Merchant right behind him was 73. And when you say game manager, that's often a negative term talking about quarterbacks, but Merchant is one in a positive way. He's like a point guard out there, and Theo Landers, well, he's like a running back out there. He is so dynamic with his feet, helping the running game, tying defensive end so they can't get into the box, but also making explosive plays as well.
You think last week Landers and Guelph were down 18-0 at the half in the semifinal against Ottawa, and then he broke a 40-yard touchdown run in the third quarter, and that signaled the comeback for the Guelph Gryphons.
It did, and it really, when he takes off, it energizes his offense, it energizes and rests that defense, and it gives coordinators nightmares because you can have everybody covered, especially in man coverage, think you're doing a good job, look behind you, he's running down your back, moving the sticks again. Such a dynamic athlete and a threat when the ball's in his hands.
All right, the top-ranked Western Mustangs, the reigning national champions, face the number 5 Guelph Gryphons this afternoon here at TD Stadium. The last time these teams met was a year ago. They did not meet in the unbalanced regular season this year. Last year was a 66-12 victory for Western in the semifinal against the Guelph Gryphons. Guelph won the coin toss. They have deferred to the second half. Western will receive as Gabe Ferraro gets the 111th Yates Cup underway. And it's Francois Rochelot with the ball. Check that, Alex Taylor breaks the first tackle, then brought down inside the 30. And this very tough special teams unit for the Guelph Gryphons as the Mustangs will go on offense. This is an offense that has been number 1 in virtually every category this year in passing yards, rushing yards, and a whopping average of 48 points a game this season.
And that's when they took the pedal a bit down in second halves and run the ball instead of throwing it.
Merchant in the shotgun. Joseph. Play action now as Merchant runs to the wide side. Under pressure now, gets the ball away. And it's complete to Malik Bessinger for a short gain on the play as Merchant put under some pressure on the first play.
Yeah, had the zone read there, and early in the game, as you see the offensive line and offensive starters for Western, early in the game we see him outside of the pocket.
Western starting offense brought to you by Wilson, the official football of the OUA. 2nd and 3 for the Mustangs. They'll go to a bubble screen to Harry McMaster. He's got it. He got a first down and more. Still on his feet. McMaster across midfield and across the 50 of Guelph before he's finally wrestled down. McMaster, the leading receiver for the Mustangs, and a big first down as we check the starting defensive alignment for the Guelph Gryphons, brought to you by Wilson. This was the number 3 defense in the OUA this year. And Cedric Joseph has his first carry, and he's hit immediately by Joe Reinhardt for little or no gain. Cedric Joseph, the OUA's leading rusher this season with 965 yards on the ground and 12 touchdowns.
And that's an early win for Guelph's defense, being able to win the line of scrimmage, stop the run on first down.
2nd and 9.5 Western. Merchant checking for the call from the sideline. 3 receivers to the wide side. Merchant with time gets the ball away to Cole Majerus. He's got it and more, and dragged down after a first down. Uriel Kalinga, the rookie linebacker, in on coverage, and a gain of 16 on the play, and another Western first down as they move the yardsticks again.
And a great read by Merchant. We saw the early motion by his slot receivers. That dictates coverage for him. He makes the easy throw ball out of his hands, allows his receiver to run after the catch.
First down Western at the 31 of the Gryphons. Play action again. The ball is complete to Alex Taylor. Oh, what a move as he breaks the tackle. He fumbles the ball into the end zone. And Guelph recovers. Dalton Akintepe on the loose ball after Taylor had crossed the 5-yard line for Western.
What a swing of momentum. And on this play, we see the gift and the curse of Alex Taylor. See ya, I'm leaving, dares to be great, but sometimes it comes back and it hurts you. He makes the explosive play for you, but also trying to make a big play. He also has put the ball on the turf for this Western program.
Taylor turning the ball over after a gain of 21 into the red zone, and so Guelph will scrimmage first down at their own 20. Theo Landers, the 4th-year man, in his first season really as a full-time starter, will hand off to J.P. Simonkinda, and the Mustangs were waiting for the big power back. The true freshman is drilled back of the line of scrimmage for a loss on the play. Here's the starting alignment for the Guelph Gryphons, brought to you by Wilson.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent, a lot of former Team Canada players on this offense. They're going to need to have a big day and sustain drives.
2nd and 12 for Landers and the Gryphons. Deep in their own territory. Western showing blitz, and here they come. Landers in trouble, gets the ball away. Oh, in and out of the hands of one of their top receivers, Kean Schaefer-Baker. He should have had it.
He should have. He's going to want that one back. We've seen him make the outstanding catch this year. Sometimes he doesn't make the routine catch, and that was an example. And this is what you want. You're getting blitz coverage. You have one man-on-man. You've won at the top of the route. Have to finish it and bring it down. I expect him to go back to him on the next series to keep his confidence.
Schaefer-Baker had maybe the catch of the season in Ottawa earlier this year. That one-hander that he went up, 8 feet in the air to bring down, but he couldn't hold on there. And so the Gryphons will have to punt as Gabe Ferrero stands inside his 5-yard line. Ferrero, an end-over-end punt that bounces at the 43, and Majerus is quick to jump on that ball, and he'll have little or no gain, but the Mustangs will be back on the Guelph side of center to start this drive as Chris Merchant gets set to go to work.
Yeah, he does, and in the backfield with him is not Alex Taylor right now. It's a timeshare, so we expect that, but Alex Taylor is the happiest guy in the building that his defense bailed him out. He's going to want to make a play for his team to make up for it.
Taylor, the all-time rushing leader for the Mustangs, in that inadvertent fumble. Here's Merchant. Handing off to Cedric Joseph, the power back with a nice move, and he'll be very close to a Western first down. The first-team OUA All-Star, Cedric Joseph, will move the yardsticks in a gain of 10.
Cedric Joseph, just as talented as Taylor, bit better ball security, and as you mentioned, more of a power back. He's more of a one-cut slasher, where Taylor is a guy who takes it.
As Greg Marshall, in his 13th season here at Western, won the OUA Coach of the Year award for the 6th time this year. Merchant throwing a deep corner pass for Ellerman. Great coverage on the play, and it's incomplete. Elijah Walker, the field halfback, with great coverage to break that up. Second down Western now at the Guelph 35. Another look at that one.
Yeah, Merchant just wanted to put a little bit more air on that and lead his receivers. Western already at the line of scrimmage, looking to play with tempo early in the game. It works as they draw the offsides.
Yes, the movement on the Western offense forcing an encroachment offside against the Gryphons.
The defense, 5-yard
and so this will give the Mustangs a 2nd and 5 situation.
And the wind at this stadium, and especially on a day like today, is key. Western has the wind. They're going to want to get as many plays in as possible. That's why they're playing with a quicker tempo.
Again, motion from the Mustangs. Merchant turns to the sidelines to get the play call on 2nd and 5 at the Guelph 30. Merchant with time, throwing to the wide side. McMaster makes the catch right at the first down marker, and he's tackled by Graham Brody, the field corner for the Gryphons. And it will be enough for a first down just across the Guelph 25. So McMaster, the leading receiver for the Mustangs this year, being put to work early by Chris Merchant, who said, I don't have a favorite. I go to whoever's open.
Right, exactly. Earn my loyalty.
Hand off to Joseph. He's got daylight. Joseph now high stepping to the goal line. Touchdown, Western. 25-yard run up the gut, cutting a swath through the Guelph defense.
What a start and what a run by Joseph. Clean through the line of scrimmage, and then when he's even, he's leaving. Finishes the run. Physical, that's the difference between an average back and a great run. Once he smells pay dirt, he's going for 6.
Malik Bessinger with a great downfield block, and that's one thing that the Western receivers do oh so well.
It's a great point. It's a great point. There aren't just 5 blockers on this team, not just the big man up front. The wide receivers take it as a point of personal pride.
Mark Leggio with the point after, and the Mustangs have an early 7-0 lead here in the 111th Yates Cup. Just as we thought Joseph would be the man to watch on the ground for this powerful rushing outfit here at Western, leading the country with an average of 271 yards a carry. You know, earlier this year in a game at Windsor, Joseph rushed for 355 yards in the first half.
Crazy, crazy.
He's a great back, and he's got his team on the scoreboard first as the Mustangs revel in a 7-0 early lead here in the 111th Yates Cup, presented by Milk to Go Sport.
This week on the CHCH Sunday Blockbuster, when you can live forever.
Eternity can be a curse. But I am can't be undone.
What do you fight for?
What kind of monster are you? The Wolverine.
Sunday at 8:30 on CHCH.
Again? Where do you think you're going?
Celebrate the best of the season with festive specials for all at Swiss Chalet. Our famous 100% Canadian fresh chicken served with stuffing, cranberry sauce, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card. Any day, any way. Get festive at Swiss Chalet.
Back at TD Stadium in London on this overcast, chilly November afternoon, and the 111th Yates Cup Championship. Western with a 7-0 lead as Leggio kicks it off, and it's Keandre Smith, the all-rookie, the freshman, dodging his way to the 35-yard line. Named to the all-rookie team this year and was a second-team OUA All-Star with a 25-yard average in kick returns this year.
Now he comes from good stock, the son of Adrian Pee Wee Smith, former Argo great. They've got a lot of sons of great players on this Guelph team.
Theo Lander's going to work. He had a strike dropped by one of his top receivers, Schaefer Baker, on that last series. Good field position at his own 35. He'll go to the air, and it's complete to Wade Bielik, or Cade Bielik rather, and he is knocked out of bounds just shy of the 40-yard line for a gain of 4 yards on the play.
If I'm a Guelph fan, I'm happy because Landers early is looking confident throwing the ball. He's thrown a couple strikes, considering against Ottawa that he didn't have 100 yards passing until the fourth quarter. That is a good sign early.
Last year against Ottawa, he had 69 yards passing until the final minute. The handoff is to Simon Kinda, and he'll have a few, but will be well shy of the first down. And so Guelph will send out their special teams unit.
Yeah, and not only has Western done a good job in the run game early, they've done it just with their front. They haven't had to add numbers into the box. They've just done it with great pursuit. Guelph is going to have to establish the run early to be able to move the ball against Western's D.
So Gabe Ferrero to punt with an average this year of 38.4 yards. The first team OUA All-Star kicker. Ferraro, a high punt coming down to Rochelot. Breaks a few tackles, gets up the Guelph sideline, and finally thrown out of bounds just across the Guelph 50-yard line. Once again, the Mustangs will start on offense in terrific field position.
And that's also a great point, is because, you know, Greg Marshall wants to play the entire football game in your end of the field, especially when the weather gets tough, where a missed tackle, a fumble, and all of a sudden you're looking at 6 points. But giving his defense a long field to allow them to play aggressive and make mistakes.
Merchant with Valvano, the fullback, motioning to the wide side. The handoff is that direction, a straight arm by Joseph, and he's strung out, and he'll be tackled for a loss on the play. As the free safety, Doten Academy, in on the blitz to make the play defensively.
Yeah, and that safety is in on the blitz because they're bringing hands to the football, bringing numbers, trying to stop that run game on first down.
Taking a page from Laurier in the final game of the season when they brought all kinds of defensive backs into the box.
Yeah, the difference is 4 out of the 5 in the secondary for Guelph are freshmen. This is a young secondary, so that leaves them exposed on the back end.
2nd and 15. Screen pass to Alex Taylor. Taylor surrounded and going nowhere. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. And so a hungry Guelph defense forces the Mustangs to punt. There's Todd Galloway, who is the interim head coach, taking over that position this year.
Yeah, this is his first Yates Cup game. The nerves, I'm sure, strong, but he's been through this before. He's been around the program before, was the OC when they won the Yates right here in London. And I think he would rate his club as B+ so far. They're playing physically. They just need to cut out some of the mistakes away from the ball.
Galloway was the offensive coordinator for the Gryphons in 2015 when they upset Western right here in the Yates Cup, replacing Kevin O'Neill, who served 2 years as head coach before moving on. And it's interesting that Galloway spent last year as a full-time recruiting coordinator.
Yep.
And Guelph had one of the best recruiting classes in the country this past year, and now that's serving him well in his role as head coach.
It's a big reason why they're here in this game today, and it's a big reason why the second half of the year was so different from the front end, is because those guys who were forced to play right away, they grew up, they learned the level of play in the OUA, and now those youngsters have them in the biggest game in the conference.
Bartleggio to punt, standing across his own 40-yard line. Oh, a deep spiraling punt, pushing Keandre Smith to his own 10-yard line, and he's hammered by his own teammate. Alex Jackson trying to get back to set up the return. Drills the returner along with Sopik, and we have a flag on the play.
Good job, Mark.
Referee Kevin Baird managing the conduct of the game here this afternoon.
While the ball is in flight, we have holding. Guelph, half the distance, first down.
Holding the call against Guelph, and Kevin Baird, winner of the Ken Green Officials Award of Merit this year. He's earned the respect of coaches, players, and his own colleagues with a fair and no-nonsense approach to officiating. As we take a look at our IG Wealth Management players to watch today, Schaefer Baker, the playmaker for Guelph, and McMaster, the leading receiver for Western, and no going there against the stout Western defense as the Gryphons try to dig out of horrible field position on the ground.
And guess who? Sopik in the backfield again. Safety blitz as well. This defense, lots of hats around the football already.
Western defense brought to you by Wilson, the official football of the OUA. It's been a powerhouse defense, the best in the OUA. They've made so many changes in their secondary and along the linebacking core, and they're arguably as good as they were a year ago. There's Landers throwing deep into coverage, and it's intercepted. Marshall Ferguson has the ball for Western, and he's bringing it back. Ferguson to the 10, goal line, touchdown.
What a play. Mackenzie Ferguson. That is the formula for success for Western right there. We have playmakers who can take a mistake and turn it into points. You have the best defense in the conference.
Ball was intended for Cade Bellick on the corner route, but he was double covered.
He was. He got cover 4, stopped the run on first down, play coverage on second down. You see what happens. Bad decision, badly thrown ball, 6 points the other way.
Marshall Ferguson returning that interception for a touchdown. That's his 3rd pick in 2 playoff games for the Russ Jackson Award-winning grad student here at the University of Western Ontario. The young man who's working in clinical anatomy puts on a clinic here today on defense.
The best part about being a bath fitter installer is the reveal. Homeowners greet us in the morning and love that we're going to install a beautiful new tub right over their old one without tearing the bathroom apart. But they're never quite prepared for what they get come the end of the day. We call it the wow moment. When they see their new bathtub that's high quality and more beautiful than they could have imagined, I can't help but smile. Since it's Bath Fitter, it's built to last a lifetime. We guarantee it.
Book your free in-home consultation today. Call or visit bathfitter.com.
The 111th Yates Cup on CHCH, brought to you by Milk to Go Sport, by Wilson, the official football of the OUA, and by IG Wealth Management. So the Mustangs with a 14-0 lead their offense and their defense putting majors on the board in this first quarter.
Yeah, that last sequence is a clinic of exactly what Greg Marshall wants. Win the territory battle, play in there and stop the run on first down, play coverage on second down, and make a game-changing play.
Leggio to the rookie, Keandre Smith at his own 20 up the sideline, still moving upfield and finally knocked out of bounds. Devin Colmer makes the tackle for the Mustangs. And Landers now will have a good field position to start this drive. What will he do now to come back after that interception? Can he put that behind him? Can he steady his nerves?
Yeah, in that huddle, he's just saying, "Hey guys, let's go on a drive. Let's get back in this football game. It's still early, lots of time to make some plays."
4 receivers to the wide side. Simon Kinda on the ground, the big rookie, bulldozing his way for a gain of 8, maybe 9 on the play. We'll see where they spot it. Looks like a gain of about 7 or 8. And his first big carry up the gut.
Yes, positive sign. And you see his style there. Downhill, zone runner, one cut, runs behind his shoulder pads, and then at contact, drags you for 2 to 3 more yards.
Simon Kinda didn't even dress for the first 4 games of the season.
Crazy.
And in the last 4, he's averaged more than 100 yards a game and been a powerhouse in the playoffs for this resilient Guelph football team. 2nd and 3, Landers across the middle. It's complete to Ballack, going up for the football at the 45 for a Guelph first down.
And there you see the recipe of what Guelph wants to do. Run the ball on first down, then 2nd and manageable. We'll take that. Our quarterback can make sensible decisions with the football, check it down, and move the sticks.
Gain of 8 on the play for the Guelph first down. Again, 4 receivers to the wide side. Nobody to the boundary. And they'll run back to the boundary. Simon Kinda breaks the first contain. Then he'll have about 4 yards on the play. Brought down by Deontay Knight, the true freshman from Ajax, Ontario, the first-year art student who's patrolling the defensive end position in his first year at Western.
Positive run for Guelph, staying on schedule. But we haven't seen Theo Landers on design runs yet. That's part of the strength of this offense, as these teams feel each other out. I expect to see that more moving forward.
2nd and 7, a passing down, and Schaefer Baker nearly offside. He had to put it in reverse. Here's Landers looking to the wide side. This is where he excels. Scrambling now, he'll run, and he'll be denied. The first down as Fraser Sopik makes the tackle for Western. Sopik, the stand-up defensive player of the year.
Sopik he's just a football player. He's always around the ball, and when he gets to the ball, he comes with bad intentions. He wants you to remember that he was around the football and that he inflicted some pain, and often he tries to strip that football. I can watch tape of him play all day. One of my favorite players in the conference.
Well, Greg Marshall said earlier this season that he may be the best defensive player in the country.
Yeah, I would agree with him.
3rd and a little more than a yard at midfield. Ferrero has a look, then he shanks it off the side of his foot, and it'll bounce out of bounds, and he's furious with himself. He had a look there because I'm sure the fake was on if it was there.
Yeah, it looked like he was in between 2 minds, as you say, and now just when Guelph was looking to flip that field position, it could have been a lot worse, and Western will scrimmage with a chance to go on another long drive.
Chris Merchant, the 2nd-team OUA All-Star this year, 2nd to Trey Ford, who took first-team honors, goes back to work with Harry McMaster flanked wide to the wide side of the field. Now he'll motion back along the line of scrimmage. Play action. The ball is complete to McMaster, who loses his footing, and he'll go down after a gain of 8 on the play.
Merchant threw that one a little bit earlier than he wanted to, but Harry McMaster is his security blanket on this offense. In case of emergency, break glass, throw to 19. Because he is so disciplined in his route running, Merchant knows where he's going to be at all times.
2nd and short, and the Mustangs bring in their heavy alignment. Spencer Hood and Elliot Beamer are in, along with Andrew Thurston. And they'll stay on the ground. It's Joseph, and that's tough going, but he'll crash across the line of scrimmage. It looks like he'll have enough, yes he will, for the Western first down. Cedric Joseph, they say he's a selfless player, just like Alex Taylor. The two of them sharing the limelight in this backfield for Western and encouraging each other to greatness.
Yeah, and Alex Taylor back in the game after that fumble early. He's playing the slot. We'll see him both in the backfield, but also catching.
There's the handoff to Joseph. He has to backtrack, and he's driven out of bounds hard into the Western bench. As there was nothing for him, Joe Reinhardt. And Luke Corral in on the tackle for the Gryphons. Luke Corral, of course, leading the U Sports, the entire country this year in tackles with 57. So Brett Ellerman leaves the game as Francois Rochelot goes in at receiver for Western on 2nd and 7 at midfield. Merchant facing a 4-man rush. He's got all kinds of time. Gets the ball away. It's complete to Malik Bessinger right at the first down marker at the 50.
Bessinger, another guy who is not going to wow you at that athleticism, not going to jump over you or run by you, but smart players, been around this program for a long time, settles down in the zone, protects the ball with his body, almost like a post player, and gets the first down.
Bessinger, perhaps the fastest receiver in the Western receiving corps. Play action, it's the quarterback Merchant calling his own number, and he'll slide across the 50-yard line close to another first down. That's the other dimension of this Western offense. When he pulls the ball and scrambles, he's so elusive. He's got good speed, and he can break tackles.
Yeah, he's so quick with it when he decides to run.
So Merchant with a gain of about 9.5. It'll be 2nd and short Mustangs on the move again here as the first quarter comes to a conclusion. Then the Mustangs up by...
Eddie gets a substitute teacher.
Please take out your syllabus and throw it in the trash.
Who doesn't make the grade with Jessica.
Yes.
Why are you trying to destroy my son's future?
An all-new Fresh Off the Boat, Friday at 8 on CHCH.
Where exceptional student athletes are born. Where records are broken. Where great plays are made. Where school colors ignite passion. Where champions prevail. Where tradition is celebrated. Ontario University Athletics.
Conwave is knocking out the competition again. Introducing the Conwave Triple Play. Get your home phone with unlimited local calling, unlimited internet, and TV with over 75 channels, all for only $89.95 a month.
That's right. Get all 3 services: home phone, unlimited internet, and TV with over 75 channels, including TSN, Sportsnet, W Network, CNN, and more. All for only $89.95 a month. Call now and get up to 6 months absolutely free and no charge for installation.
So let me get this straight. I get a home phone line,
Unlimited internet, so no more overage charges.
TV with over 75 channels, all for only $89.95 a month?
Now that's a great deal.
It's time to knock out the big phone and cable companies with Conwave.
Call 1-866-518-5321. That's 1-866-518-5321. Call now.
This holiday season, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. As Theater Aquarius presents Elf the Musical. Share the adventures of Buddy the Elf as you've never seen him before, live on stage. Get your tickets now.
The 111th Yates Cup on CHCH, brought to you by Milk to Go Sport, by Wilson, the official football of the OUA, and by IG Wealth Management. The Mustangs 2nd and inches at the Guelph 40, and they'll move the yardsticks again as they continue to pound this Guelph defense. Elliot Beamer, his work accomplished, and the heavy team heads to the sideline.
That's tough. You got a backup center coming in to play, fullback, tight end, who could start for most teams. That's a tough, heavy package to defend.
How'd you like to face that? Here's play action. Merchant into the flats for Taylor, and somehow he holds on to the football. Takes a hellacious hit from Akatepe, the safety for Guelph. And it's a gain of about 9.5.
Yeah, well, there's no way he was dropping this football after he dropped one earlier. And I love the decision by Merchant. This is a guy who, if they're going to get to where they want to get to and win another Vanier, Alex Taylor's going to be a big part of it. Go back to him after he made a mistake. Say, listen, I got confidence in you. You're going to make plays for us again. That just shows you some of the leadership in the quarterback.
Taylor comes out. Cole Majoros checks in for Western on 2nd and inches. Here comes the blitz. There's a mix-up there. Merchant carries the ball out of the backfield to the end zone. Touchdown! On a broken play. We've seen that time and again from Chris Merchant. When things go awry, he makes it work.
Yeah, well, the point guard had to figure it out, and he's figured out that dance step in the end zone as Majoros comes to block the back end. Joseph goes with him downfield. I'd rather be running downfield the ball, but since you kept it, I'll follow you into the end zone to be your lead blocker. And then Merchant doesn't seem that fast, but what he does is he gets to top speed so quick and outruns angles, and you see it there. And now it's 20 going on 21.
Well, the Gryphons looked like they had that play stopped and had they handed it off. And then on the broken play, Merchant to the end zone. He's all smiles on the Guelph side, or on the Western sideline, as the Mustangs open a 21-0 lead, and the horse rides again here at TD Stadium.
That horse might get tired if this offense continues to run the ball the way they are.
Here are the first half statistics brought to you by IG Wealth Management. 147 yards to 23. Favoring Western. You look back, Donovan, to last year's semifinal, in which Western defeated Guelph 66-12. They held Guelph to 8 first downs in that football game. And this game is taking on much the same complexion unless Landers can get his team going.
Yeah, I mean, the key is the rushing yards and the discrepancy between the two. Both these teams are built pretty similar. Like to stop the run, the football on offense, keep things in front of them. Only one team is doing that thus far.
Keandre Smith from his 5 gets outside along the sideline. There's a flag on the play as he steps out of bounds near the 35. I think there have only been a couple of penalties so far in this football game.
Yeah, it's been a great game as far as that is concerned. Just the 3rd penalty, and 2 of them would have been on specials. Both teams have been pretty clean thus far, and also I love when the officials just let them play, which is what this crew has done.
This is going back.
Number 7, Guelph, illegal block on the return. First down.
And that's all they need right now. It was an illegal block officially, and they'll spot the ball at the Guelph 12-yard line. Landers, the great running quarterback, with JP Simonkinda, the true freshman bulldozer, back in the backfield. It's a passing situation. They'll throw to the flats, and Bellick is hit immediately. Looked like Marshall Ferguson made first contact. Having another terrific game in the secondary for Western. Gain of maybe 1 on the play.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. You're not often seeing Guelph throw on first down, but they're going to have to try and stretch the field as Western continues to creep up to the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 9. Landers, he's got time against a 4-man rush. Now he breaks contain, cuts inside. He's knocked down. It's Fraser Sopik who got a piece of him and brought the Guelph quarterback to the turf. Gain of 4.
Guess who was around making the play? Sopik, once again. And this is the fear with Landers, that you have everything covered. He pulls it and runs. Film study and checking your keys allows Sopik to get off of his pass responsibility, step up and make the play.
Breck Marshall telling us before this game, Donovan, that Landers was the guy that he feared most on this Guelph offense because of his ability to break contain.
Yeah, he's the X factor. When you have everything called correctly, covered correctly, he just escapes the pocket and moves the chains. He wasn't able to do it that time, but this offense needs him to make explosive plays to help them flip the field.
Ferraro will retreat to his end zone and concede to 2-point safety, as field position has been a real shortcoming for this Guelph football team. So Western will get the ball back at their own 35-yard line with a 23-0 lead here early in the second quarter.
Yeah, tough obviously to give up points, especially on the road, but that's a decision to basically save yourself and be a little bit pragmatic. You don't want to give Western a short field the way they're playing.
Here's Merchant's touchdown on that broken play.
Yeah, he just gets in behind Joseph, and Joseph gets down to the second level and gets down to spring him with the last block that allows him to get into the end zone.
He scored a touchdown earlier this year when he fumbled the snap, picked it up and ran something like 61 yards for a touchdown. Here's Merchant throwing to Majoros. Cole Majoros gets some good blocks and hustles upfield to the 50-yard line for a gain of about 15 on the play. And another Western first down.
And Majoros is like another running back for them. They get him the ball with some jet sweep motions, some screens, and he's a guy who also can block off the edge for them to help the run game.
First down. And there's a flag, and it looks like Guelph will be offside. Elijah Walker showing blitz from his field halfback position. So 5 yards and make it 1st and 5
Offside.
Mustangs at center field.
5-yard penalty, first down.
Todd Galloway turning this team around. He took his team in February down to the IMG Academy training camp for a week in Florida. And with so many first-year kids in this lineup, he said it was really helpful to give them a bit of a jump start to the season.
Certainly, and it's something that they do once every 4 years, so every recruiting class can experience that, something Laval has done for a while every year.
Handoff is to Cedric Joseph. He slips the first tackle, and he'll have the first down with a gain of 8 yards as Brendan Murphy, the rookie from Châteauguay, Quebec, makes the tackle for Guelph.
And this is the thing with these Western backs. Even when you think you have them blocked, they make a guy miss, they make a nice cut in the hole, they get positive yards for you.
Cedric Joseph with 8 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown so far in this football game. Galloway's leading rusher. He gets the call again, bouncing outside, and he's caught by Greg Corfield, who swings him down after a gain of about 2 yards on the play.
Steve Snyder now running this offense he's using these backs to basically be like counter punchers at times, but to throw jabs, to throw body blows. They wear teams down with this big offensive line and these two backs that they shuttle in and out of the game.
Officially a gain of 3, 2nd and 7 Mustangs as Majoros comes into the lineup and Taylor is out. 3 receivers wide side. That's where Merchant is looking. A quick look-in pass. It's in behind Brett Ellerman, falling incomplete. And so it's 3rd down Western.
Oh, and Merchant's going to want that one back.
Yeah, that was thrown well behind his receiver who was open on that little look-in.
Yeah, Ellerman just looking to find a little soft zone and hook up, and Merchant threw it a little bit behind him. But it stopped for Guelph's defense.
Smith and Bellick back to receive this punt from Mark Leggio. An average of 42.5 yards per punt this year to lead the OUA. A spiral, angled, out of bounds perfectly as it goes out of bounds at the 3-yard line. And the Gryphons will go back on offense in the shadow of their own goalpost here in the second quarter of the 111th running of the Yates Cup Championship on CHCH TV.
From the pioneering days of television, we've been committed to local news. We don't just cover your community. For us, this is home. But it's not about us. It's about what's relevant to you. It's about staying connected and providing news that makes your life richer and more rewarding. Local, relevant, connected. CHCH is proud to be your trusted news leader.
Welcome back to the 111th Yates Cup Championship, brought to you by Milk to Go Sport, everyone. Marshall Ferguson here on the sidelines. And speaking of Milk to Go Sport, the presenting sponsor today, of course, Milk to Go Sport. I'm joined by Emily Bacchia of Milk to Go Sport. Emily, it's a fantastic opportunity for a great brand like yourself with Milk to Go Sport to be associated with the Yates Cup. What does Milk to Go Sport love about being associated with a game like the Yates Cup?
Yeah, for sure. We're so happy to be here. Our Milk to Go Sport product is great for athletes. These athletes are our target market. We know that post-recovery is super important, so we're really happy to be associated to the OUA.
Emily, enjoy the rest of the game.
Thank you so much.
Back up to you, Mark.
Thanks, Marshall. Guelph in tough field position once again. First down. Inside their 4-yard line, a high snap. The handoff to JP Simonkinda. And the big back goes down at the 5. Tough running inside the Western tackles again. Simonkinda, who's been a phenom in the last 4 weeks of the season, first 2 weeks of the playoffs, rushed for, 10 yards on 5 carries in the first quarter.
Yeah, and when his average is now with a 2-yard gain around 2, it's not a recipe of success for Guelph. He's got to get 5, 6, 7 on first down to make second down manageable for Landers with his arm, or more importantly, with his feet.
Second and long. Landers has his pass knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Jimmy Hawley got his meat hooks on that one.
Great job. You know you're not going to get home. You know you're not going to get all the way to the quarterback. Stop your pursuit. Track the quarterback. Track his eyes and get your hands up into the passing lane. That's the way it's taught. Textbook. And again, this front for Western playing havoc for Theo Landers.
Adversity for this Guelph offense here in the first half. Landers with but 1 pass completion so far in this football game. Gabe Ferrero will concede his second safety of this first half. And the Mustangs now with a 25-0 lead here in the second quarter.
And this is what they do, especially at home. They dictate the line of scrimmage. They dictate field position, short fields, start getting on a roll, scoring, and giving you long fields to try and answer. Next thing you know, you look up and you were down 14. All of a sudden, you're down 28 or 35.
Out of town in the Looney Bowl, it's St. FX up 12-0. In the Dunsmuir Cup, no score, and this could be a titanic battle, Montreal and Laval. And, of course, later today out west, it's Calgary and Saskatchewan in the Hardy Cup. Here in the Yates Cup, it's 25-0 Western as they go back on offense. And it's a play-action run by the quarterback, Chris Merchant. He's got the first down and more, and driven out of bounds after a gain of 15. Doton Akadepi, the first-year player from Barrie, Ontario. Check that third-year player from Barrie makes the tackle for Guelph. Merchant has 3 carries and 47 yards and a touchdown already in this first half. At the 50. Western 1st and 10. Play action. Merchant wants to throw deep down the sideline. Harry McMaster. Oh, he's got it. What a catch. And he's marked with a knee down. McMaster bending himself, looking over top from behind to pull that pass in. 40 yards the gain.
40 yards, and he could have had more. If he was playing at the next level, he would have been able to get up and score. He was touched, so he's down here, but that was a pro catch by a player who's already had an imprint on this football game. Tracking that ball in these conditions with those lights over his head, that's the toughest ball to catch in the sport. He did it.
The Edmonton Eskimo draft pick with a 40-yard gain. It's first down at the 21. Here's Cedric Joseph, gets outside. Now he's at full tilt to the end zone. Touchdown, Western Mustangs. Cedric Joseph with his second rushing touchdown of this half.
Well, he checks the watch when he gets in the end zone to see what time it is. And again, it's time to celebrate. It's time to dance with the homies, because he's dancing from 7 yards back through the line of scrimmage to second level untouched. These are the best backs in the country, and when you allow them to get to the second level, it's pay dirt all of the time. So many numbers in that Western backfield, hard to account for them, so you're bringing numbers to the line of scrimmage. Then when they get through, they're running to the end zone.
When your free safety makes first contact 20 yards downfield to the goal line, that's not a good sign.
Exactly. And with the motion, with the slot backs motioning, with the fullbacks doing a great job on ends on the second level, pulling guards, and then obviously Taylor in the game, another player that you have to account for. A lot going on, and it's tough to deal with unless you're bringing numbers into the box. But if you don't make that tackle again at the line of scrimmage, then they gash you.
Cedric Joseph with 80 yards on 10 carries and 2 touchdowns so far in this football game. 32-0. Western, as Mark Leggio kicks off from his own 45. Deep downfield for the rookie, Keandre Smith at his own 1. The all-rookie returner across the 15, then runs into traffic. Ball's loose. Who's got it? Mustangs are signaling it's their football. Mitch Smiley was down there first, but it will be Guelph ball as they avert a turnover inside their 20.
Yeah, there's no question who had the ball. The only question is, was the runner down? Decided he was. So what could have been a lot worse, they escaped another issue. But now, if you're Guelph, let's regroup. We've got 6:48 left before the break. Let's just get some positive things on tape. Let's just start to sustain a drive, feel good about ourselves. There are no plays where we're going to get 32 points back, but let's at least allow our defense to have a blow and take a breath.
Twin tight end formation for Guelph, trying to dig out of bad field position once again at their own 18 on first down. Landers throwing to the wide side. It's knocked down by Marshall Ferguson. Intended for Kean Schaefer-Baker. Incomplete. 2nd and 10.
And this is the chess match that happens between coordinators. Guelph, not a team that often is in the shotgun throwing on first down. That's not who they are. They're a run team or a play-action pass team. Western sitting in coverage, just waiting for Guelph to start to open it up.
Guelph goes to a 5-receiver set. A.J. Chase comes in on a passing down. 2nd and 10 at their 18. Landers facing a 3-man rush as Western drops 9. Still gets some pressure. Now dancing to the open field, and here he goes. Landers will run. Is hit hard by Daniel Valente Jr. as he crosses the 30-yard line, and a first down. That's the Theo Landers teams have come to know and fear.
Yes, no question. That's the guy that got them in this game, and that's a predicament with him. Just rush 3, play coverage. Well, he can pull it and get you 10 on his own.
Gain of 13 officially for Landers. First down. Handing off to J.P. Simonkinda, and he's wrapped up by Fraser Sopik and a host of Western defenders for a short gain of maybe 4 on the play.
Now you're no longer in the shadow of your own goalpost. The playbook starts to expand. More things on that call sheet are in play, and this is a chance for Guelph to get back in the game.
Guelph going to hurry up, 2nd and 6. Sopik showing blitz, now he backs off. Western with a 3-man front. 4 linebackers in as Ellis checks in on defense. Landers waits, throws to the wide side, and incomplete, intended for Zeph Frazier in front of the Guelph bench. And so once again, Gabe Ferraro will have to punt. Theo Landers good on 3 of 9 passing attempts so far for 14 yards and an interception in this first half. So it's been a tough baptism by fire for him.
Well, and he's seen this defense for the first time. So you can see a defense on film, see what they do, but until you see the speed and velocity with which they play, it's tough to replicate in practice.
Ferraro from his 25, again a short punt. Rocheleau backpedals to get it at his 40. He's got nowhere to go. And A.J. Chase is the first man downfield to make the tackle for the Guelph Gryphons. This is an absolute juggernaut of a football program. You're an alum, and so you know full well what goes into building these seasons, but 21-game winning streak, currently tying the OUA record with McMaster. They win today, they break that mark. Guelph on a 5-game streak, Donovan, after opening the season 2-3.
Yeah, I mean, 21 wins is crazy. There's some players who are just hoping to win 21 games in their career. The fact that they're in rarefied air just shows you where the program's at.
Look at Merchant. He's got 5 steamboats, throws to the near side, and it's complete to Harry McMaster. And he's wrapped up after another big first down reception as Walker makes the tackle for Guelph.
And that just shows you the confidence Merchant has in McMaster throwing to the wide side under duress with pressure. And McMaster opens up his body to the football, making that catch a little bit easier.
Harry McMaster now with 5 catches for 97 yards. And Merchant took a big shot from Robinson releasing that ball. Handing off up the gut, and it's Alex Taylor head on. And he'll get to the 40, and a gain of 8 yards on the play.
Yeah, pushes through the contact, and when he did, look, kids, 2 hands on the football. You knew he was not going to let that ball go once again. He's a guy who likes to make people miss, but on that play, it was all about ball security.
Another Edmonton draft pick. Taylor, you mentioned how he's been used more at the slot back this year, and that's where they think in the CFL he might be perfectly fixed to play.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of guys who have come from the Manitoba, area that have played running back at this level, but then have played slot in the CFL, and I think he's the next of a long line of talented guys from that province to be difference makers.
Taylor with great season here, 541 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, sharing the backfield duties with Cedric Joseph as Chris Merchant comes to the sideline to talk with head coach Greg Marshall. Here's a look at the Western honorees this year, winning the OUA titles. Stand-up defensive player Fraser Sopik, the Russ Jackson nominee and winner Mackenzie Ferguson for his great academics, and Greg Marshall wins the OUA Coach of the Year for the 6th time in his career. 2nd and 2, and Elliot Beamer is in at fullback. The big O lineman cuts a crease for Alex Taylor, and he'll have enough yards for the first down as he moves the football to about the 35.
Yeah, most teams, when the backup running back comes in, coordinator says, okay, take a bit of a break. There's a drop-off. Western, the second running back comes in. It's the all-time leading rusher in the history of the program that's known for good running backs.
They'll spot it at the 36, first down Western, threatening again with just over 3 minutes to go here in the first half. There's that bubble screen to the wide side, and it's complete to Harry McMaster. He's made a career out of that pass play, and he has another first down.
He has, and great call by Coach Snyder. You see Guelph starting to bring pressure to disrupt. Right behind it, they throw the bubble screen, and they get a first down.
Gain of 12 for McMaster.
And we saw them bring pressure. I think we're going to see more of that, because this is a defense that they play fast, they play to the ball, but they play turning the ball over as well.
How about Chris Merchant through the air? He's been almost perfect, 12 for 14 and 190 yards.
Yeah, and he's in a program where in previous incarnations, whether it was Will Finch or Mike Folds, they were throwing the ball all over the yard. he is making smart decisions with the football, even though he could be much more prolific throwing it.
We'll take a break as Chris Merchant talks to his running backs coach and head coach Greg Marshall with a commanding 32-0 lead as we hit the 3-minute warning here at the 111th Yates Cup.
Comwave is knocking out the competition again. Introducing the Comwave Triple Play. Get your home phone with unlimited local calling, unlimited internet, and TV with over 75 channels, all for only $89.95 a month.
That's right. Get all 3 services: home phone, unlimited internet, and TV with over 75 channels, including TSN, Sportsnet, W Network, CNN, and more. All for only $89.95 a month. Call now and get up to 6 months absolutely free and no charge for installation.
So let me get this straight. I get a home phone line,
Unlimited internet, so no more overage charges.
TV with over 75 channels, all for only $89.95 a month?
Now that's a great deal.
It's time to knock out the big phone and cable companies with Comwave.
Call 1-866-518-5321. That's 1-866-518-5321. Call now.
Welcome back to the 111th Yates Cup Championship on CHCH, presented by Milk to Go Sport. The Mustangs threatening again, first down at the 24-yard line of the Guelph Gryphons. 3 receivers to the wide side for Chris Merchant, who has been absolutely terrific through the air here in the first half. Merchant back to pass, checking his reads, wide open. It's Griffin Campbell, touchdown Western. Griffin Campbell with his first touchdown, the second-year man out of London, the social science student, gets some limelight here in this first half.
Yeah, he was ready. He stepped up when his name was called, and Chris Merchant now spreading the love as far as getting that football all across his playmakers. Does a great job of, again, understanding coverage, settling down, making himself available, and then, hey, I'm close to the end zone, I don't got one, I'm going to make sure my first is in the Yates Cup.
The point after from Lego is good. How about Griffin Campbell? He had only 3 catches all season, gets his first catch of the Yates Cup, and it's a touchdown.
Yeah, and cool as a cucumber. Already knew how he was going to celebrate. He was ready. He clearly had thought about that moment before.
And he's an example of another Mustang receiver who's being nurtured and brought into this this great organization, a second-year player, getting some congratulations on the sideline, a London Central product. As he hauls in this pass, he's wide open, sitting down there in behind the secondary and scampers into the end zone.
And he's a great example of what we talked about with Greg Marshall yesterday. One, they're young players on this team in the first and second year, ready to play. A lot of them don't because they're so deep, but his young group of players, and it helps when you win a Vanier Cup, are ready to contribute at a high level right away. The other thing they do a great job of is recruiting this area. How many kids are from London that are making plays for them?
You're right. I mean, they scout this city and the regions and have the best talent from London. As that kickoff goes out of bounds from Leggio, a rare miscue for him, and that will give the Guelph Gryphons their best field position, I think, in this first half, is they'll get first down at their own 40-yard line.
2:38 left. Coaches always talk about closing quarters, closing halves being important. For Guelph, you just want to go on a drive and get some points coming out of this first half so that you can go in the locker room with a bit of momentum and have something positive to talk about.
Theo Landers now motioning 2 receivers to the boundary. Now they cut back, play action, and he'll go right back to Bellick, and it's too high and incomplete, with Jake Andrews, the freshman from Niagara-on-the-Lake, in on coverage defensively for Western. That's 4 straight incompletions for Landers.
And Landers' strength is running the ball, especially on first down. When we got a fresh set of downs, I want to see Landers pulling on designed runs. There's no reason to save your quarterback's body because there may not be another game after this. He technically is their best and leading rusher.
4 receivers wide side. Sopik showing blitz, and he slips as Landers checks the defense. Now Sopik backing off, 3-man rush. Landers looks like he's got a completion. He does at the 50-yard line for an 11-yard gain to Zeph Frazier, and a first down for Guelph.
Fraser, a good player, transferred in to this program and has been a contributor ever since. And he knew exactly where the sticks were and got a little bit farther. So if he had to come back to the football, he still had the first down.
Frazier, the 4th-year sociology major out of Mississauga, coming here, as you said, in the transfer from Laurier. Here comes the Western blitz. Landers gets the ball away, and it's complete to Bellick. And he'll be close to a first down as he got forward progress to about the 50-yard line.
And what I love about that was the confident throw and confident posture of Landers. Stood in the pocket, stood tall, didn't bring his eye level down to look at the rush, stood in knowing he was going to get hit, but delivered a strike in the middle of the field.
Gain of 9 for Cade Bellick, 4th-year player, art student from Regina, Saskatchewan. 2nd and 1. At the Western 50 as the Gryphons get across onto the Western side of this football field in what has been a tough offensive showing for them.
And now Western they asked to call a timeout. It wasn't granted. Jim Hawley tried to call a timeout. Not often you see a D-tackle trying to get a timeout.
And Sopik blitzing makes the tackle for no gain on 2nd and 1. So this will be 3rd and short.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3-down territory at this point. 151, you're down 39-0. If ever a time to go for it in the middle of the field, it will be now.
Fraser Sopik is almost unblockable when he wants to blitz.
Yeah, he is. And if you saw him on the street in street clothes, you wouldn't think that guy is a linebacker in the OUA.
So Spencer Hood, an offensive guard, has been brought in to D-tackle here on this 3rd down gamble by the Gryphons. 3rd and less than a yard in the shotgun. The handoff to Simon Kinda. He's got daylight. Simon Kinda with a big straight arm as he's finally pushed out of bounds by Bleska Kambamba. But the big man rumbling for the first time in this football game.
Simon Kinda, for the first time, really showing you that burst. The reason why they had to get this guy off of the scout team and onto the starting lineup. Didn't win the track meet, but said, I'm going to drive this man to the track. Another positive play for the Gryphons.
15-yard gain. They go right back to the big back, Simon Kinda, and they cut his feet out. That was Alex Salchev making the tackle. He's 225 pounds. I mean, he packs a wallop when he gets to full speed. He'll have a gain of about 4 on the play.
Yeah, and Alex said, yeah, I saw that last play. You're not going to stiff arm me to the track. I am going low. I'm making a business decision, and I'll meet you at your ankles. And if you hurdle me, so be it.
Simon Kinda had 375 yards in 2 playoff games for Guelph en route to this Yates Cup. He's been held in check until now. 2nd and 6. Landers with protection. Now he gets itchy feet, gets upfield, and he's brought down very close to the first down marker at about the Western 18-yard line.
But again, in a situation where
that 22-yard line,
you know this is 3-down territory. A field goal is not really doing much for you down 39.
No.
That's a positive play. Smart, sensible decision. Don't force the football. Use your athleticism, use your legs, and keep the ball moving forward.
That was one of your Centaur game keys. They can't settle for 3s. They've got to get 7s.
Well, they certainly can't now.
Yeah,
because I'm not a mathematician.
Yeah.
I didn't study a lot of math when I was here at Western. But 39, that's going to be a lot of 3s. If they're going to get back into this game, they're going to need to make explosive plays on offense. But they're also going to need their defense to step up the table and get them the ball back quickly with some 3-and-outs.
So 3rd down, less than a yard. And the heavy package is on the line of scrimmage for the Gryphons. Trying to get on the scoreboard here in the opening half. Cinnamon Kinda gets through the first contain, and he'll have the first down. He's tackled on the play by Kambama, the boundary corner for Western, and they'll move the yardsticks again.
And now you're seeing the run game start to warm up. It's like an old car in the cold. Sometimes you need to give it a little bit of love, get a little bit of gas. But the positive thing about having a run game is after you've worked at it and you're patient with it, you see the dividends as the game starts to move forward.
Well, resilience was sort of the hallmark of this Guelph team this year, and they need that. Now, a timeout has been called by Guelph as Landers looks to the sidelines for instructions.
Well, you mentioned that resilience, and it's something they talk about, something that they work on, and it is a skill, it is a talent, and because not everyone has it. And Gary Jeffries, who's been close to this program in the past, obviously, you know, made his heyday at Laurier. He was basically part of the staff and worked with them on leadership and skills. And when he met with every position group, he found that there was a trait. All of the players, what they wanted to improve on was resilience. So Todd Galloway went away, took that information, and it's something that they worked on just by being cognizant of it. And we've seen how that has worked for them this year. A lot of other teams would have said 2-3, season's done. It's a wrap. They didn't, and that's why they're still playing. And the way they've got back into the season was comeback after comeback after comeback. Comeback against Laurier, comeback against Waterloo, comeback down 18-0 against Ottawa. If they have a comeback here, it will be epic, but they're not going to give up because this is a resilient group.
Well, there was one epic comeback a couple of years ago, and that's what it'll take again.
Yep.
Here's the third down gamble, a passing down. They're going to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Bellick, the intended receiver. 2nd and 10 for Guelph. You talk about the leadership, Gary Jeffries. He was made a leadership coach, and he talked to every single player. And in terms of resilience, the feedback he got was that we as players were feeling that bad things were happening to us.
Right.
And you can't take that mental approach to a football game.
No question. You can't take that mental approach to life. And the great thing about Gary Jeffries, if you've been around him, whether it's football or otherwise, is he's such a positive person that it rubs off on everyone.
2nd and 10 in the red zone, Guelph. Empty backfield. There goes Landers. Breaks the first tackle. Theo Landers across the 10. Oh, and he's catapulted by Fraser Sopik, who gets down low to make the tackle. But this will be a short gain of about 5, maybe 6 yards on the play. So it's 3rd down.
But I love that Landers just got back up and said, that's cool. I'm still here. We're still moving the football. We're still competing. And oftentimes when there's a big hit, that gives the defense energy when someone's lying around on the ground or upset. Landers has said, I'm here to compete. And he's competing, and he's got his team on the best drive of the day.
Gryphons with no choice but to gamble. Down 39-0. Dying seconds of the opening half. They go to the big man. Simon Kinda hits one tackle, diving for that first down marker. And this is going to be very, very close.
Yeah, and the great awareness by Simon Kinda. Oftentimes you see people dive for the goal line or dive for the end zone. He knew that he was short, and he needed to dive to get the first down. And look at him here, the effort just to break the plane right there and get the spot and get the first down, and now Guelph is once again in business.
Big second effort from JP Simon Kinda.
Heady play for a freshman who didn't, as you mentioned, start the year as a starter. The starter got injured in the preseason game against Laval. He was a guy who had a chance and didn't really grasp it because he was running hesitant, learning the playbook, and he's forced his way back on the roster, and now he's making big plays for this team.
They had all those injuries at running back. They lost Daniel Palmer-Salmon to an ACL injury in the preseason against Laval. Then Kwame Osei suffered a season-ending knee surgery against Queens in week 5. And as we mentioned, Simon Kinda didn't even dress in the first 4 weeks of the season, didn't really have a grasp of the playbook. But throughout this year, he has come on strong. 14 seconds to go. Time not on Guelph's side. Landers throwing a slant, and it's incomplete. And it looked like Ferguson had the best leverage on that play, as Bresciani was the intended receiver.
Well, this is an example of film study and technique. He ran the route. He knew his keys, but also when he got to the football, used that left hand. Didn't go through the receiver to get a PI. Used that left hand to break it up.
Ferguson is so smart. I mean, they moved him to safety last week while Valenti was serving a suspension, and he had 2 picks in that game against Carleton. 2nd and goal. Landers, flush from the pocket, rushing upfield. He won't get to the end zone as he's felled across the 5-yard line for a gain of about 3 on the play. So with 4.5 seconds to go, 1 play on 3rd and goal to get on the board.
Yeah, and this is a situation, and Guelph hasn't seen it much this year, where I might spy Landers if I'm the coordinator. Might use more in the middle. The transfer might use Sopik, because even if he doesn't find a receiver, he could pull it down and run and score.
3rd and goal from the Western 3. An extra offensive lineman in for Guelph. They'll throw. Touchdown! Schaefer-Baker on the slant, and the Guelph Gryphons are on the scoreboard.
What an answer with no time left on the clock. About to turn it over if you don't make a play. They do make a play via the passing game. Out of his hand quick, gives his receiver an opportunity, and Baker dropped one earlier on the inside slant. Goal line situation, doesn't make the same mistake. Great ball security. Touchdown for the Gryphons. And mentally, that's 7 points, but for them in that locker room, it's gonna feel like 70. They're gonna now be able to say, listen, we can compete. We know we can physically.
Kian Schaefer-Baker with a 3-yard touchdown catch from Theo Landers on the final play of the first half. As they head to the dressing rooms, it's the Mustangs with a commanding 39-7 lead over the Guelph Gryphons.
This week on the CHCH Sunday Blockbuster, when you can live forever.
Eternity can be a curse. But I can't be undone.
What do you fight for?
What kind of monster are you? The Wolverine.
Sunday at 8:30 on CHCH.
Where exceptional student athletes are born, where records are broken, where great plays are made, where school colors ignite passion, where champions prevail, where tradition is celebrated, Ontario University Athletics.
Every year, hundreds of thousands of Canadians head south to live abroad during winter. These travelers call themselves snowbirds. Several laws and regulations continue to threaten this retirement dream for Canadians. The Canadian Snowbird Association is a national not-for-profit advocacy group owned and operated by over 100,000 members. The CSA's mandate is to protect and defend the rights and privileges of Canadian travelers by lobbying for fair access to government services. Membership is only $25 a year. As a member, you will receive a subscription to CSA News Magazine, a Snowbird information kit, low-cost currency exchange rates, and much more. Call now and get a free copy of the CSA's Traveler's Report Card and learn how your government is helping or hindering your freedom to travel. Preserve your rights as a Canadian when you travel abroad. Join the CSA today. Call now.
Welcome back to the 111th Yates Cup presented by Milk to Go and the Milk to Go halftime report, as it is a 39-7 lead right now for the Western Mustangs out in front. I tell you what, it's a runaway right now, but the Western Mustangs aren't going to take their foot off the gas. They never seem to here, especially in big moments in big games. Joined alongside Andy Fantuz and Jake Reinhardt as well. Andy, slightly more enjoyable first half for you, I'm guessing, at this point. But Jake, you're fired up about the touchdown at the end, just getting anything going, right? Starting to get a little momentum.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the Gryphons were definitely dominated there in the first half. But yeah, a nice drive to end the half, so hopefully gain some momentum there and can keep that rolling into the second half. I mean, they've got a big score, a big deficit to come back from, so hopefully they score early and often coming into the second half.
Andy, your assessment right now of the Western Mustangs, just that little speed bump at the start with the Alex Taylor fumble after a full field drive, but after that, smooth sailing.
Yeah, after that, once Marshall Ferguson got that pick six early in the game, that really solidified their momentum, and then they just been steamrolling them. And other than that last drive, I think their defense only gave up a couple first downs and maybe one completion. So it is nice to see Guelph get a little bit of something going, but Western's just too much for them right now, so they got to make some halftime adjustments.
You've been a part of a defense that's had to go against an offense like this from the Western Mustangs, right? Jake, you've seen what you have to go up against and the way you have to deal with it. What is the adjustment? Is there an adjustment that you can make when you've got Cedric Joseph going crazy, Alex Taylor, Harry McMaster on the outside, Chris Merchant going crazy in the backfield?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the running game is definitely ground and pounding the Gryphons right now, and then they're also being assaulted through the air, so it's definitely very difficult. And then you look at, too, they're definitely winning the field position battle here, too. It seems Guelph is always backed up and punting from deep in their own end. So, yeah, definitely adjustments have to be made. I don't know if that's bringing more pressure in the box and sending more heat on blitzes, but, yeah, right now they definitely need to make some adjustments.
And you got to try to make a big play, right? And the big play I think that we saw in that first half that really did set the tone was the interception, the pick six that got taken back. And, Andy, you know this so well. With a team that's this talented, it takes the slightest margin for error for all of a sudden the score to get out of hand the way that it is as it stands right now. It was 14-0 in the blink of an eye after they got into the end zone for the first time offensively, and then that pick six. How do you explain how this team is able to put together back-to-back big plays like that and just start to pile on?
Yeah, well, when you come into a game as a heavy underdog and you have a play like that go against you, it's very deflating for your team. So you can see they're losing a little bit of hope almost, but then that drive at the end really showed some promise and showed a lot of character. So I expected Guelph to come out fired up in the second half. But this Western defense is just too much for them right now.
What is it about the Western defense that you admire so much at this point in the way that they played? Because obviously we know Fraser Stopik. We talked about him in the pre-show, where you're just dealing with somebody who gets sideline to sideline as well as anybody in the country really at this point. But outside of that, there's a lot of playmakers and a lot of names.
Yeah, they've been batting balls down in the defensive backfield, and their defensive line is getting a lot of push, so it's allowing those linebackers to run free. DeYoung and Michael Moore are also making a lot of plays on the ball, and they're not really giving Landers any throwing opportunity and any room to run either.
Yeah, certainly put in a bit of a tough spot as it stands right now. And one last one from you, Jake, as you look towards the second half here. What does Guelph do? What is the message in the locker room right now from Todd Galloway and that staff?
Definitely, I think he's telling the defense has got to force some turnovers into the second half. And I think at this point, too, now as an offense, your entire playbook is open. I mean, I would expect even Guelph to maybe open up their bag of tricks and catch the Mustang defense by surprise and hopefully score early and often.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the hope for the Guelph Gryphons as we head towards the second half. It's going to be an exciting second half, we hope, for the Western Mustangs and the Guelph Gryphons as Guelph. What do they have left in them? We will find out. This is the Milk to Go halftime report right here at the 111th Yates Cup Championship. When we come back, we'll have highlights up in the booth with our friends Mark Lee and Donovan Bennett. More Yates Cup.
You should do yourself a favor and get out the way and let us Lions do what we do.
Next Wednesday, there's only 2 episodes left until the fall finale.
I will make him pay for what he did to you.
It's a secret so shocking.
Why didn't you tell us?
It will shake the Lion family to its core.
Calm down, baby, please.
I trusted you.
An all-new Empire, Wednesday at 8 on CHCH.
University of Guelph, and we are committed to improving life.
Wowza.
Wowza!
Wowza!
It's the Big Brand Savings Event at Food Basics. Save big on these brands and get new deals every Thursday. Wowza! Food Basics, always more for less.
Still fresh.
Ow.
Unstoppable in-wash scent booster.
Downy Unstoppables.
The 111th Yates Cup on CHCH, brought to you by Milk to Go Sport, by Wilson, the official football of the OUA, and by IG Wealth Management. At the half here at TD Stadium in London, and it's all Western up 39-7. I mean, the game was only moments old, and they were down by 2 on the pick 6 by Ferguson. And then the opening score by Cedric Joseph. Joseph, by the way, is off to a terrific game with 77 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns already.
Yeah, I'm glad I started him on my fantasy team for this game today, but it's been a game about the formulas and not to beat this again, but November football, you want to run the ball, you want to have field position, and you want to stop the run. Western, up until that last drive, has done a better job of that so far than Guelph.
They're built for November playoff football with that big ground game, but how about the passing of their quarterback, Chris Merchant, who was 14 of 16 attempts for 222 yards and a touchdown, ran for 1 himself.
Yeah, and he took what the defense gave him. He was protected by that offensive line. Pocket was clean. He was allowed to step up and throw accurately and throw and get the ball out of his hand early, and that's why he kept that offense on schedule.
All right, well, let's take a look at some of the first half highlights in this one-sided football game. The Mustangs up 39-7.
Yeah, and you see that it's been an athletic game by both teams, as you saw in those highlights. But Western has been able to make more explosive plays throughout the first quarter. It's been a clean football game. We haven't had a lot of penalties, but the fact that they're up 39-7 lets you know that they've stuck to that, again, November formula of football, which is why they've been able to make more of those highlights, more plays, other than Landers with that late drive. It'll be interesting to see what the adjustments are coming into the second half.
Down to the sidelines now, and Western head coach Greg Marshall. Greg, you have a 39-7 lead at halftime, holding Guelph off the scoreboard until the final play of that first half. You've got to be awfully excited about the way your team is playing so far.
Yeah, I'm excited, but you know what? We didn't want to end the half like that and give them any momentum. You know, starting the second half. So. We got to do a better job, you know, keeping the kicks in bounds. But you know, I'm really happy with the way our team's played. I thought offensively and defensively we've been outstanding so far.
All right, Greg, thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you in the second half.
Okay, thanks.
Greg Marshall and the Mustangs, a commanding 39-7 lead over the Guelph Gryphons. His offense has been in full gear. His defense, well, it took the final play of that first half before they were beaten for a touchdown here in the 111th Yates Cup from London, Ontario.
From the pioneering days of television, we've been committed to local news. We don't just cover your community. For us, this is home. But it's not about us. It's about what's relevant to you. It's about staying connected and providing news that makes your life richer and more rewarding. Local, relevant, connected. CHCH is proud to be your trusted news leader.
Where exceptional student athletes are born. Where records are broken. Where great plays are made. Where school colors ignite passion. Where champions prevail. Where tradition is celebrated. Ontario University Athletics.
Today, I'm talking with Jack and Hannah about the new line of credit at Cash Money. Jack, with a line of credit, you'll have access to cash anytime, up to your approved limit.
Sounds great. I have major moving expenses.
Perfect. You'll get more cash, have lower payments, and have more time to repay than a payday loan.
Super.
And Hannah?
I borrow less and I pay it back fast. I'm good with the payday loan.
Fair enough. Payday loan or the new line of credit? Which will you choose?
Cash Money, love my Cash Money. Hey! Comwave is knocking out the competition again. Introducing the Comwave Triple Play. Get your home phone with unlimited local calling, unlimited internet, and TV with over 75 channels, all for only $89.95 a month.
That's right. Get all 3 services: home phone, unlimited internet, and TV with over 75 channels, including TSN, Sportsnet, W Network, CNN, and more. All for only $89.95 a month. Call now and get up to 6 months absolutely free and no charge for installation.
So let me get this straight. I get a home phone line,
Unlimited internet, so no more overage charges.
TV with over 75 channels, all for only $89.95 a month?
Now that's a great deal.
It's time to knock out the big phone and cable companies with Comwave.
Call 1-866-518-5321. That's 1-866-518-5321. Call now.
Welcome back to our Milk to Go Sport halftime report from London, Ontario in the 111th Yates Cup as we look at the halftime numbers, and they are skewed dramatically in Western's favor.
They certainly are, but the one thing that you pointed out that Coach Marshall will be happiest about is that zero penalty yards for Western. In a big game with all this excitement, that's phenomenal. Penalties are 2 reasons. You're either out of shape and out of position, or you're undisciplined. His team so far is neither.
Yeah, no penalties, putting up 353 yards of offense in a robust 39-7 first half lead. Joining us on the sideline now is Guelph head coach Todd Galloway. And Todd, I would think that your football team had to be encouraged going to the half with that touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we dug ourselves a little bit of hole, shot ourselves in the foot a little bit, but I'm glad the way they finished. They really fought there, and we got one going into the half.
Well, your team has been known for its resilience this year. You're going to need that big time here in the second half.
Yeah, we got to rely on the experiences we've had so far this year, and hopefully we can come out a little faster and have a better second half.
As someone who has been an offensive coordinator in this league, what do you say to your young quarterback, Theo Landers, to get him going in the second half?
Yeah, we might have to, maybe some plan, run him around a little bit, calm him down. We started to see the field a lot better going into that half. So hopefully coming out, he continues to see the field well, and we have a much better half.
Yeah, well, that's when he's at his most dangerous, when he's running with that football. Todd, thank you for your time and good luck in the second half.
Great, thanks a lot.
Todd Galloway, the interim head coach of the Guelph Gryphons, as we take a look at Theo Landers and throwing that slant to Schaefer Baker on the final offensive play of that first half for the touchdown.
Yeah, and it seems counterintuitive, talking about his running impacting his throwing, but similar to a basketball player when they're struggling shooting, sometimes going to the foul line and just seeing the ball go through the net helps you with your shot and with your game. And for Landers and for running quarterbacks in general, I really believe when they can impact the game positively, see the chains move, even if it's with their feet, it does, as Todd says, settle them down in a way, gives them some confidence that they're having a positive impact on the outcome, and I expect him to be a much more accurate thrower if they're able to run him.
Landers had only 37 yards passing in that first half for 1 touchdown and 1 interception. It was returned by Ferguson for the touchdown. He was 6 for 14, so perhaps that touchdown pass will give him some confidence here in the second half as the ball is teed up for Mark Leggio. The Mustangs kicking off with the wind at their backs. And as DeAndre Smith at his own 12-yard line hitting across the field, beats the first tackle. It was Fraser Sopik that went in like a missile that knocked him off balance. And then Devin Comber made the tackle officially, where Guelph will start this drive at their own 29.
I said earlier, Sopik arrives at the ball with bad intentions. He also arrives with no regard for his own body. Just throws himself at people, and that's why he makes so many tackles.
He had 7.5 tackles in that first half alone, Sopik.
That's a great game for most people.
Is it ever? First down, Guelph Gryphons at their 24-yard line. And J.P. Simonkinda cuts a swath through that Western defense. And it looks like he'll have enough for the first down as they spot it at the 35.
Another positive run for the freshman. And again, his style is 2 hands on it, through the line of scrimmage, and then as soon as I get to that second level, I'm lowering those shoulders.
Simonkinda had 50 of Guelph's 76 yards in the first half. And he's got 10 and a first down to start this second half for the Gryphons. Play action. Landers throwing to the near side and intended for Lucas Brennan, the fullback. Too far for him and incomplete. 2nd and 10.
Landers just lost his feet a little bit in the exchange play fake with the tailback, but that's where he's dangerous. On the run with the bootlegs, with clear reads, 2 options, a high and a low, and he can easily make his passes when he's on the run.
2nd and 10, Guelph. 3-man front for Western as Ellis checks in at linebacker. 3-man rush. Now 4. Landers is flushed and he'll run. He's got some room and he'll cross that first down marker. Bleska Kambamba, the boundary corner, lost his footing on the play, but it's another first down for the Guelph Gryphons. Remember, they were down 18-0 last week to Ottawa in the semifinal and won it in the final minute, 27-22, on a Hail Mary pass by this quarterback.
They did, and off of some great runs by that quarterback again. And this run could have been worse. He lost his feet as well. We've seen a couple guys slip, and it's not raining, it's not snowing, but it's so cold here. Sometimes those rubber pebbles actually freeze together, and the footing is a bit slick on this turf, and we're seeing a bit of that now.
Landers complete to Bellick. He's knocked out of bounds with a gain of about 7 on the play. Alex Salchev, the 3rd-year player from King's College, makes the tackle for Western.
We had a rule when we were playing, as we see, again, Landers, ball out early. And that's the key, is it's not 5-7-step drops. Get that ball out early, allow your playmakers to make some plays. We had a rule. Listen, you can wear the stylish cleats and you get 1 slip. If you slip more than once, then you have to put on the long stud, the ugly cleats. We may see some ugly cleats in the second half.
2nd and 2, Simonkinda bounces off the first tackle, finds daylight. Simonkinda hurdling his way. He is gone. J.P. Simonkinda, touchdown Guelph on the opening drive of this second half. A 57-yard gallop.
Are you kidding me?
Well, we talked about Griffin resilience, and this is an awfully high mountain to climb, but they're on the board with back-to-back touchdowns.
Well, this play is so nasty. We're going to show it to you multiple times because he showed you the entire arsenal on this run. The patience, the vision to bounce it back, then the speed at the second level, and then, of course, not caught from behind, but in the end zone, spins the ball as well for the celebration.
Point after from Ferraro is good, and suddenly it's a 39-14 football game. And Simonkinda now with 13 carries for 112 yards and that massive 57-yard gash up the middle.
Well, have you heard of Wally Pipp? Yeah. Because I think the guys who are ahead of Simonkinda on the depth chart going into this year may find out that next year he's still taking first-team reps when everyone is healthy. He is such a load once he gets into that second level and has deceptive speed for a big man. As you see, he's not chased down often. He is a complete player already as a youngster. Also does a good job as a blocking back as well.
J.P. Simonkinda, the youngest of 12 siblings from Ottawa, Ontario. The true freshman at 19 years of age. And his older brother is also in this game. There's a short kick attempt. It's loose. A scramble for the football. The Gryphons say they got it. Western pointing the other way. It is Western ball. Oh, and there's Greg Marshall right out onto the field as well as they congregate at the 45.
Looked like Greg wanted to secure that loose ball if it was free.
Looked like Francois Rochelot came up with the football on that jump ball short kick.
Well, we said early, trick plays and special teams are going to play a factor, and we see it. If there's going to be a comeback, then trick plays and special teams are going to be a part of it for Guelph. They finally got the momentum, 2 consecutive scores on either end of the half. They tried to switch it there, and they almost did it.
Spencer Nichols made first contact, it looked like, on that short kick before Rochelot gathered the ball up in that furious scramble in front of the Western sideline. But you're right. Can you imagine if they got in possession with the momentum they've started this second half?
Yes. Adrian Kaiser did a good job with his specials. They were ready for that with a moonshot kick, but that is one of the toughest things in sports, to go up for it knowing you're about to get hit.
Brendan Murphy, defensive back for the Gryphons, heading off on his own steam to the sideline. He's another rookie who made the all-rookie team, and a big loss if he can't stay in this game as Western goes on offense. Merchant, play action, rolling to the short side. Wide open is Cole Majoros. Majoros is taken down hard by the safety, Akatepi, after a 22-yard gain.
I mean, I continue to say Merchant is like a point guard, but he runs that zone read option as if he was playing with a pick and roll, drawing people to him in the run game with a great fake, then drawing people to him with a bootleg, and then just dropping it behind them for an easy completion.
First down Western, play action again. Backside screen, and it's complete to Cedric Joseph. He's wide open. Joseph high-stepping his way across the 15-yard line in a massive gain. Tackled out of bounds at the 13-yard line after a 30-yard catch and run as Western opens the playbook.
They do, and this is a luxury for them, is that they don't have to call a lot of plays to win most games throughout the regular season. As you see, numbers coming closer and closer to the blocks, and Guelph wanting to force the issue by causing turnovers, slip the screen behind them and give your playmakers lots of open field to run.
30-yard gain on that backside slip screen to Cedric Joseph. Illegal contact penalty declined, and Western now in the red zone. First down at the 13 of the Gryphons on their opening series of this second half offensively. Merchant, he'll run. Beats the first man, scampering wide. Touchdown! Chris Merchant, a 13-yard touchdown run. His second rushing touchdown of this football game. He's so elusive when he breaks contain.
He is, and the other thing is when he decides he's going to pull it and go, he pulls it and he goes. Joseph gives him a block, again downfield, makes a man miss, then find the corner, get in the end zone. Another touchdown for Chris Merchant, who's playing a pretty much perfect football game at this point.
Merchant now with 60 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns to go with more than 250 through the air. Point after attempt from Mark Leggio is good. And the Mustangs take back that major. It's now 46-14. Nearly going in this third quarter, and so more adversity for the Guelph Gryphons as Merchant has been absolutely spectacular through the air and on the ground, and a real magician running this offense.
And the other thing about Merchant is we see him get to the corner and get in the end zone is, at this point, when you're up big, but still a lot of time left, you're really playing not even just the opponent, you're playing the clock. So smart decisions with the football. Be careful. Don't turn it over either with a fumble in the pocket or an interception. Don't give Guelph any more possessions than they naturally will have. Merchant does a great job of that, and that's why he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Officially, Merchant with 267 yards passing. He's only had 2 incompletions in 17 attempts. Kickoff high to Keandre Smith at his own 17-yard line. And he's got nowhere to go as he's taken down by Chris Ellis, the third-year kinesiology student from North Vancouver for Western. So the Gryphons will start first down at their own 23. Mustangs have been perfect this year, 9-0, coming here to the Yates Cup. Look at the margin of victory. 35.7 points. 3 games without allowing a single touchdown. It's an 11-point average per game against on defense.
And the 2 games they trailed, both on the road, and they were trailing late. They stayed patient, stayed with their running games, stayed with their principles. They ended up coming back and winning.
You're right, there are only really 2 games this year where they were tested. The opener at Carleton, where they needed overtime to win 26-23, and then coming from behind in the 4th quarter at Queens to win 26-23.
In most teams, coming from behind means we're going to throw the football to get back in the game. Western runs it to get back in the game. That's how patient Steve Snyder is his play call.
2nd and 5. Theo Landers and this Guelph offense. Here comes the blitz. Sopik turned aside. The ball is deep downfield. Oh, in and out of the hands of Zeph Fraser, who is behind Pleska Kambama. A missed opportunity there as Fraser drops the football.
Well, that's tough. Landers actually put the ball in a real nice spot. Just said, listen, I trust my guy in Zeph Fraser. He's going to win the jump ball. And he does win the jump ball. Great timing. Maybe a little bit of a push off, but hey, let him play. Had the 2 hands on it, just couldn't work out the landing. Kind of got those feet in between and dropped it. But if he caught that, he was gone. That's a tough one. Wow.
High punt coming to Cole Majoros at his own 47. Flag on the play. This looks like it'll be no yards against Guelph. Tackle at the 50-yard line. So the Mustangs, who made swift work on their first offensive series of the second half, go back on offense. Referee Kevin Baird with the call.
No yards. Guelph. 15-yard penalty. First down.
That'll be a 15-yard penalty. The infraction on that ball caught through the air by Western. We'll take a break as the Mustangs will go back on offense when we come back to the 111th Yates Cup Championship in London.
Eddie gets a substitute teacher.
Please take out your syllabus and throw it in the trash.
Who doesn't make the grade with Jessica.
Yes.
Why are you trying to destroy my son's future?
An all-new Fresh Off the Boat, Friday at 8 on CHCH.
Opportunity is everywhere. Like here, where nothing stands between you and your best friends.
The 111th Yates Cup on CHCH is brought to you by Milk to Go Sport, by Wilson, the official football of the OUA, and by IG Wealth Management. Chris Merchant is in his zone here this afternoon. He's rushed for a couple of touchdowns. He has been almost perfect through the air with 267 yards passing, 15 of 17, and he's been so hard to beat. And he'll have first down at the 48-yard line of the Guelph Gryphons. Three receivers to the wide side. Merchant. Play action to Taylor, gets it to Malik Bessinger. He's got some great blocks upfield. Bessinger carries the mail to the 26-yard line in a 21-yard pickup.
You mentioned Merchant in the zone as now they go no huddle. Everyone gets the call from the sideline. He's just playing pitch and catch. He's in the backyard. Everything is easy for him at this point. He's not seeing pressure in his face. He's getting the calls from the sideline, not overreacting, checking with him at the line of scrimmage. He certainly is in his zone.
Luke Carl is showing blitz from the Sam linebacker. He backed off. They go to the wide side to Bessinger again for a short gain of maybe 2 yards on the play. Make it 2nd and 8 Western.
Sports psychologists talk about flow state when athletes are in a state of mind where everything else is eliminated. They're just concentrating on the task. As we see the out-of-town scoreboard, St. FX up 12-3, which would be an upset. Laval up 10-1. You know that's going to be a defensive battle in the Dunsmuir Cup, and 3 p.m. start out west in the Hardy. Chris Merchant is just seeing the field so easily. His reads are coming so easy.
Merchant bails out of the pocket. He's deadly when he runs. Coral hunting him down. He'll get out of bounds and takes a shot on the play from Akatepe, and flags fly as the Western quarterback was perhaps pursued too far out of bounds.
Oh, yeah, that was a tough one. I don't really like to side with defenders, but Merchant looked like he was just in bounds. But again, seeing his read so easy, knowing that if there's nothing there, I can pull it, I can run. And he goes into the signage.
Unnecessary roughness. Late hit.
It's a tough one.
The thing with Merchant, though, is, again, how many times has he been hit? How many times he has pressure on his face? He's not really going to need to wash this uniform after the game, because unlike a week ago where he was on his back a lot, he's been able to stand upright in the pocket and make throws without being contested.
So 5 carries, 72 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. That's the Merchant story with his legs here today, as they get a first down at the 4 after that rough play call. The heavy team is in for Western. There's a fumble. Merchant picks it up, and twisting and turning, and probably get back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe a short loss on the play. So the heavy team comes out.
We've seen him drop a snap and turn it into a touchdown before. But again, even in duress, you know, when guys will freak out when the ball's on the ground and start kicking and fumbling around, he's not fazed. This is an opportunity, you know, for Guelph to get a stop and keep this 2 or 3 and have their defense feel positive after what's been a tough drive.
2nd and goal from the Guelph 5 after the loss of 1. Play action now. Merchant. 3 steamboats, 4 steamboats, 5. Now he throws. It's intercepted. Job Reinhardt has the ball for Guelph. Reinhardt, with his 3rd interception of this season, stops the Western scoring drive, and Merchant had all kinds of time.
He did, and actually this is the first time I didn't really like his read. He had guys open early and held on to the ball and really forced it. And Reinhardt, a guy who was a quarterback, played quarterback defensively, reading the quarterback's eyes, got to his zone landmark, but kept moving and found a receiver and got in the way to make the interception.
Job Reinhardt, one of the strongest players on this Guelph defense. You can bench press 225 pounds 25 times before exhaustion, with a big skill play there, intercepting Chris Merchant.
You know, when you're a quarterback and they say, no, you lift too much weights to be a quarterback, we're moving you to defense, that you're doing something in the weight room.
I think he showed up expecting to play quarterback. They said, you're too strong to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
So Landers scrambling on first down for a gain of 7.
Well, the quarterback they have is starting to do some good things offensively in Landers. And I said it would be a great stop if Guelph's D held them to 3. They held them to 0. So another opportunity for this Guelph offense to go on a long drive and get them back in the ballgame.
Really the first miscue by that Western offense here this afternoon. Second down and a little more than 2. Landers to the flats, intended for Bellick. He's got it. And it's a first down for the Guelph Gryphons.
Good job getting down to the football, securing it before it hit the turf.
Landers has looked more composed in this second half. He had that drop ball on what would have been a huge first down on the pass to Fraser in the last series. They survived the Mustang offensive onslaught to go back on offense. Here's Simikinda. Simikinda now dancing his way through that Western defense. He'll have a gain of about 6 on the play. As he's beginning to find some cracks in that Western armor.
In that offensive line, that highly talented, highly recruited offensive line is starting to fire off of the ball, dictating the line of scrimmage and redictating it down the field, which is allowing their one cut back to make that cut and move forward.
Jimmy Hawley comes out of the game as Western goes to a 3-man front, 4 linebackers. And now Mitchell Stadnick jumps as he claims the center moved the football. That's Colin Jerome. And it looks like it'll be a procedure call against Guelph.
And good job by Stadnick. When he saw that little flinch, he said, I'm going to get through and make it obvious.
Other center.
So it is a procedure call against the Gryphons. So that'll hurt them and make it 2nd and 9 as opposed to 2nd and 4.
We saw referee Kevin Baird there. One of the things, he's been around the game a long time, I love about him is he goes to players and gives them feedback. Hey, you're doing this, don't do this. I don't want to have to call this. He actually tries to stay out of the game, which is what great referees do.
Western showing blitz on this 2nd and 9. Mustangs have yet to take a penalty in this football game. Here they come. Landers gets it away and it's incomplete as he was hammered by Philippe Dion and Chris Ellis, who came through physically on that blitz.
Yeah, they haven't had to blitz often, and when they have, it's been Sopik from the weak side, but they bring Dion this time, and he came free right through the middle. Look at it, unblocked, him and Ellis meet at the quarterback and speed up his process, which led to the incompletion.
The 3-time OUA first team kicker, Gabe Ferrero, gets a shank punt off the side of his foot, and it goes out of bounds inside of the Guelph 45-yard line. So terrific field position at the 42 for Western when we come back to the 111th Yates Cup Championship, presented by Milk to Go Sport on CHCH.
We are the University of Guelph, and we are committed to improving life.
Wowza. Wowza!
Wowza!
It's the Big Brand Savings Event at Food Basics. Save big on these brands and get new deals every Thursday. Wowza! Food Basics, always more for less.
Welcome back to the 111th Yates Cup Championship, brought to you by Milk to Go Sport, everyone. Marshall Ferguson here alongside Will Finch, former Western Mustangs quarterback on the sidelines. Well, you've seen a lot of good football in your time at Western. This team, it's about as special as any you've had here, though.
Yeah, this team's pretty good. They on all phases of the ball. The defense is awesome, and offensively we're moving that thing. So, this is a great team. It's going to be hard to beat. So,
thank you, Will. Appreciate it. One note for you here, Mark, up in the booth. The officials actually went wandering through the bench asking for the volume to be turned down on the music before the snap comes up. A little bit too much of a party for the Mustangs there, so they had to sort that out from the football ops side, guys.
Thank you, Marshall. Yeah, they had to make an announcement last week at the semifinal to keep that volume down, especially when the opposition team was in the huddle. Gain of 9 yards on the carry by Alex Taylor. 2nd and 1 for the Mustangs. Threatening again. Taylor takes the handoff, sidesteps the tackle. Looks like he'll have enough for the first down, and they will move the yardsticks. This Western offense has been operating at will here today.
They have, and in comes Joseph, out comes Taylor. It's a fair trade. The guy who rushed for the most yards in a game, and he did it in a half, and the all-time leading rusher switched places.
Merchant to throw, throwing a deep corner, looking for Rochelot. Francois Rochelot makes the catch just in bounds inside the coverage of Elijah Walker of the Gryphons to the 5-yard line.
And Rochelot is a guy they're really high on, and they tried to find ways to get him in the lineup and get him the ball. And you see as he runs a great route and really gets separation late and gets to the football and then gets out of bounds.
Chris Merchant now has passed for more than 300 yards in this football game as Western sets up 1st and goal from the Guelph 5. The handoff is to Joseph. Cedric Joseph goes outside. He's hit hard at the goal line. And they're going to mark him out at the goal line as he went hard for that pylon.
Yeah, Joseph bounces it outside. And I think he thought he was going to get the corner here, but just shy, and isn't able to stretch that ball over the pylon and break the play.
I'll tell you what, this Stoughton Akatepe, the safety, the rookie, has made a lot of hits and a lot of plays on defense here today.
All over the field.
2nd and goal from the 1. Western loads up with their heavy formation. Merchant calls his own number, flags fly as he hits the end zone. Touchdown is the indication. Sort out the penalty marker.
Offside,
it's an offside against the defense. It's declined, and so the Mustangs score again as Chris Merchant rushes to the end zone from 1 yard out.
Yeah, well, I hope you started Chris Merchant in your fantasy team this week, because another rushing TD for the quarterback. If we came into this game and said that there was going to be a quarterback who had multiple rushing TDs, we thought it was going to be Theo Landers. It was going to have to be Theo Landers for Guelph to be in this game. The fact that it's Merchant lets you know why Western is up so big in the 3rd quarter.
Chris Merchant with 3 rushing touchdowns and 1 through the air, 315 yards passing, and what has been a red-letter day for the Calgary native.
And sometimes he's not mentioned in the list of other guys in the conference when it comes to individual awards and stats and records, but playing on this team, he's won out of a lot of games early. He's not throwing the football a lot of time in the 2nd half, and they've done things with a limited playbook. But again, he may not be the best thrower, but he's a winner, and that's why he's had McMaster having a day with 6 for 109.
Our IG Wealth Management players to watch, and Schaefer Baker, one of the big weapons on this Guelph team, has yet to really become a factor. As Reggio sends his kick to Keandre Smith at the 10-yard line, setting up the return on the wide side, breaks the first tackle, gets around Salchev, then finally hunted down and knocked out of bounds by Smiley for Western. And it will be 1st down Guelph at their own 22. Adrian Smith, the great cornerback with the Argos, and his next generation doing himself proud here today.
Yeah, same number 12, same running style and same long sleeves. Pee Wee will be proud of his son, who's had a great year already as a returner.
First down, Gryphons at their 22-yard line. 2:45 and counting to go here in the third quarter, as they go into this north wind in London, which is made for a wind chill here today. Play action. Bootleg open is Fraser deep down the sideline. Oh, he dropped it again. Zeph Fraser in behind Bleska Kambamba, and the ball went right through his hands.
That one's going to keep him up tonight. He's going to be thinking about that one. His quarterback had options short, gave him an opportunity to make a play that changed the game. And again, it slips through his hands. Fraser, a guy who's been really reliable for them all year, has been a big play guy for them all year. Unfortunately, couldn't do it again in the Yates.
Two big drop passes and opportunities by Fraser. 2nd and 10 now for Theo Landers, who flanks 4 receivers to the field. That's where he's looking to pass. Firing it down the middle, and it's complete. Kian Schaefer-Baker holds onto the football for a Guelph first down.
And he's the other big play guy on this offense. He had the catch of the year, the Odell Beckham Jr. one-hander over the middle. He goes 2 hands over the middle that time because he was in traffic and secures the ball. And the reason why those big plays, those big drops, not to harp on them, hurt is because when you dial things up and they work, you only have so many shots at it against a great defense. And that's why it's tough to sustain drives like that.
Landers handing off to Simon Kinda, and he is stopped. Lops the football. Football is loose. What a big play by Jimmy Hawley to stop that Guelph running back in his tracks at the line of scrimmage. There's an injured Guelph lineman down.
Yeah, it's not often you see Simon Kinda not pushing the pile as he loses the football there. What a play by Hawley, who often is eating up offensive linemen so others can make plays. He makes the play there, and we've got a man down for Guelph on the offensive line.
Andy McFalls is down on one knee. He went down for that loose football. Team Canada kid in his 2nd year in criminal justice, and he took a real shot as he scrambled for that loose ball. To recover it for the Gryphons, have 2nd down and about 12 after a loss of 2.
Well, if you're Theo Landers and you're trying to make a historic comeback, what you don't want to lose is your left tackle.
Talk about all-time U Sports records. Laval holds the record for consecutive wins of 25. Western and McMaster share the OUA mark. So with a victory here today, Western would take that OUA record and then be within 3 of the Laval margin. And last look we had in the Laval-Montreal game here today, they were in a tight defensive battle in that Quebec championship.
Always is between those two.
2nd and 12. 4 receivers to the wide side for Theo Landers. Now he'll motion 2 back to the near side. Bresciani and Bellick. Setting up the screen. It's complete to Simon Kenda, and he is eaten alive for another loss on the play as Chris Ellis makes first contact for Western with some support from Fraser Sopik.
Yeah, and the reason why that screen didn't work is because the Western defensive line occupied those linemen, the line of scrimmage, didn't allow them to get out and set the blocks in that screen. But you mentioned that the graphic of the sustained success that we've seen from these programs. Western on that list, Laval on that list, McMaster on that list. The difference is that regardless of recruiting class, regardless in some instances of coaches, there's an expectation that you're going to be competing in championship games year in, year out.
Here's Francois Rochelot on the return for Western. Gets across the 50 before he's finally tracked down. A good-looking return. A.J. Allen making the tackle for Guelph.
You know, another good return, and Western again with once again good field position. But you look at this program as the quarter ends, looking to get their 31st Yates. The first Yates was in 1931. Been really good for a really long time, and Guelph is trying to get that sustained success. After Stu Lang has come and been a part of the program, they've raised the level, hoping to be in the Yates year in and year out.
They've won 31 Yates Cups since 31.
Yes.
There's Alex Taylor sidestepping his way for a gain of about 7 on the play. As the Mustangs continue to rumble, it's been a rough ride for Theo Landers as he's taken some big shots in this football game. It's all Western here in the 111th Yates Cup.
This week on the CHCH Sunday Blockbuster, when you can live forever.
Eternity can't be a curse. What I am can't be undone.
What do you fight for?
What kind of monster are you? The Wolverine.
Sunday at 8:30 on CHCH.
Where exceptional student athletes are born. Where records are broken. Where great plays are made. Where school colors ignite passion. Where champions prevail. Where tradition is celebrated. Ontario University Athletics.
Pneumococcal pneumonia bacteria can be spread from person to person. It's unpredictable and can put you in the hospital. If you're over 50, ask your doctor to help prevent it with Prevnar 13. Think prevention over 50. Think Prevnar 13.
A man on the plane told us about a place where people become fish. He said, go past the hidden caves
and enter a world that'll change you.
Air Transat. Vacation is calling.
Celebrate the best of the season with festive specials for all at Swiss Chalet. Our famous 100% Canadian fresh chicken served with stuffing, cranberry sauce, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card. Any day, any way. Get festive at Swiss Chalet.
Why choose Seneca? Because being ready is more important than ever before. Because real-world learning puts you ahead. Because passionate professors push you further. Because the student experience is more than a classroom. Because a different kind of school makes you a different kind of graduate. Because it matters.
The 111th Yates Cup on CHCH is brought to you by Milk to Go Sport, by Wilson, the official football of the OUA, and by IG Wealth Management. The Mustangs with a 53-14 lead as we get set to start this fourth quarter. The Yates Cup is all set to be presented as the Mustangs have their eye on a 32nd Yates Cup title to lead all teams in the OUA. 1931, they've won 31, and number 32 is in the offing. 15 minutes away as Merchant pitches to Cedric Joseph. Joseph outside, he's swarmed by the Guelph defense. Joe Reinhardt and Tavius Robinson in on the play. This revamped Guelph defensive line has been rather quiet in this football game. They've got the rookie Robinson at the end position, the transfer from University of North Dakota, Carter Wilson at the other end, and then Corfield, who's a real load in the middle.
Yeah, and they're a big reason why they're in this game.
Yeah.
Getting after the passer, strip sacks and fumbles. They turned around a couple games for them, and that was the case last week. They've been, as you mentioned, quiet thus far today.
Here's Cedric Joseph reversing his field. He's got daylight at top speed, sheds a tackle, finds the end zone as he loses the football. Are they going to mark him in? Touchdown! Cedric Joseph rambling 32 yards for the touchdown.
Yeah, and guess who recovered the fumble? Not sure if he broke the plane giving Joseph the touchdown, but the guy to make sure that it was in was Merchant, the guy who handed him the football. And Joseph just shows you the strength, the speed, but Merchant shows you the heady play to get down there, as we've got a man down for the Mustangs.
That's David Brown, the fifth-year science student who plays right tackle for Western. He tore his ACL in the Vanier Cup last year. Let's another look here. Joseph gets across the goal line, and in quick is Merchant. Now, is that going to be scored a Merchant recovery for a touchdown, or did Joseph cross the plane?
That is the question. I mean, Greg Marshall is just happy that it's 6 points, but Merchant with the slide into second base and to secure the football. And that's why when I talk about him, you can't really talk about the stats as far as what he means to a football game, talking about passing efficiency, yards. He's just a football player that happens to play the position of quarterback. He's just trying to do whatever it takes to win, and that play was a great example.
We're still awaiting the official score on that one, but if it is the Merchant touchdown, that would be his 4th on the ground. If it is Joseph, it'll be his 3rd. Either way, it's been quite a day on the ground for these Mustangs.
Well, they should probably do paper, rock, scissors for it between the two of them.
How about your quarterback in there right away to cover the fumble after a 31-yard run? Ball was knocked loose right at the goal line. Really hard to tell from our angles whether he had broken the plane.
Yeah, I personally think it was Merchant. He hustled, he got down there, give it to him. But certainly if Guelph had recovered, they would have said it wasn't a touchdown, that's for sure.
Either way, it's academic. It's another Western touchdown, and they have a 60-14 lead with a whole quarter to go here in this Yates Cup. So the Gryphons will go back on offense. As we remind you to join the conversation, download the OUA Front Row app, follow at OUA Sports, and use the hashtag Quest for the Cup. First down, Guelph at their 25-yard line. With the wind at their backs on a chilly November afternoon here in London town. Landers to pass, throwing deep to the sideline, intended for Schaefer Baker. He went up for it and had it stripped. Kian Schaefer Baker in coverage by Marshall Ferguson. Or check that, Mackenzie Ferguson. The other Ferguson's down on the sidelines.
Yeah. Ferguson in pretty good position. He just lost the genetic war. He was just shorter. And Schaefer Baker went up and tried to get it, but couldn't bring it down. Those are those spectacular catches that these guys have made for Landers all year, and unfortunately haven't been able to make.
Schaefer Baker
today.
At 6'4" is a big target.
Yeah.
There's Landers rushing up the middle. He'll slide for a Guelph first down. Gain of 11 on the play by Landers.
And we'll probably see a lot more of that. A lot more of Landers pulling it and running as Western dropping all sorts of numbers into coverage and going with passive pressure.
First down, Guelph at their 36-yard line with a heavy set up front on the line of scrimmage. 3 receivers downfield. Landers to the wide side. Schaefer Baker goes up for the football, and he's got it. He'll have a gain of about 6 on the play.
And this is what Landers is going to have to do repeatedly. Move the ball with his feet, complete passes on first down against coverage.
Landers 11 of 25 for only 68 yards through the air. And this game looking a lot like the remake of last year's semifinal. Here's Simonkinda, JP Simonkinda up the gut, and a scrum shy of the 45 for a gain of about 2. Well, no question, Jean-Paul Simonkinda is a kid who is a kid to watch in the next 4 years in the OUA with what he's accomplished in the last 4 games, going over 100 yards in each. He was over 100 here today, but a great defensive game plan by the Mustangs to prepare for this powerful running back.
And he reminds me a lot of a guy they had in their backfield for a while, Johnny Augustine, a guy who played early in his career, came on towards the second half of his freshman season, and then he was their their horse. They rode him so much because of his physical style. And you know who loves physical running backs is your defense, because it keeps you off the field.
Francois Rochelot catches that punt from Gabe Ferraro out of bounds at the 35-yard line of the Mustangs. And I think Simon Kinda was like the 4th or 5th running back they've had to go through this year because of all the injuries. And there's going to be a change at quarterback for the Mustangs as Kevin John is coming into the football game. And Donovan, a look at the IG Wealth Management third quarter statistics.
Yeah, when you have 4 rushing TDs as a QB and it's the 4th quarter, you get to put on a ball cap and stand over here and get warm, and you don't have to play the 4th quarter. And John comes into the game, and I mean, Foles was athletic, Finch was athletic. He's the most athletic quarterback I've seen at Western in a long time.
The handoff is to Trey Humes, the number 3 running back, as Joseph and Taylor now getting some rest here in the 4th quarter, and he'll move the yardsticks.
And I really like Humes as a running back. He's got a little bit of the guys ahead of him, their game. He's got a little bit of power like Joseph, but he's got the speed like Taylor. He's a guy who would start for most programs in this conference.
All kinds of backups into the lineup now on offense as Greg Marshall gives some of his younger players some playing time. There's a play action. Kevin John scrambling upfield for maybe 5-6 yards on the play. That's the thing that's so deflating for every other team in the OUA is the depth of this Western football team.
Yeah, you bring in Kevin John, and he's running zone read, and he's like a running back there. When he takes over this offense eventually, it'll probably look a lot like it did with Donnie Marshall, where the quarterback is a factor in the run game. They've recruited well, and that's why they have so much depth. And late in games, they can manage ball games and get out and give their starters some rest.
Mustangs with 2 subs on the O-line as they go back to Trey Humes. Look at him zigzag through that Guelph defense, still on his feet, fighting for more yards. And he'll have another Western first down.
One thing I really like about Humes is he sets his blocks up really well. He runs the ladder, as they say, every single time when he gets to the second level, finds a block, runs behind it as far as he can, and then goes around it. The interesting thing now for me as a play caller and Steve Snyder is how much am I putting on tape right now? When you're playing a opponent, they only get 3 or so tapes, and they look at the ones at the end of the year. How many formations, how many packages do I want them to see? Some people like to put a lot on tape, so it's a lot to prepare for. Some people like to keep everything close to the vest.
First down, John hands off to Humes, trying to cut outside, and Luke Coral, the leading tackler in the country, is first to make contact and pulled that to a gain of maybe less than 1 on the play as they stacked them right up at the line of scrimmage. So a gain of about 1. We look at all the substitutes. Spencer Nichols, the backup fullback, is into the game now for Antonio Vilvano. Justin Nixon is in for Ellerman. Griffin Campbell had his first touchdown catch of the year, is out at wideout for Bessinger. Humes and John, how many teams would like to have those guys in their backfield starting?
Certainly.
Handoff is to Trey Humes. Humes slices through that Guelph defense, and he'll be close to a first down on 2nd and 9.
You mentioned Griffin Campbell getting his first touchdown. Happy probably wants to pad the stats. He's going to be virtually an offensive lineman that plays wideout because Western's not going to throw the ball, if at all, not much. Maybe a bit just to keep people balanced so they don't tee off on the run, because that's honestly how you get guys hurt late in games. But this is about managing the game and being respectful.
3rd and less than a yard, and Western will punt in a show of sportsmanship here in the 4th quarter. Mark Leggio standing at center field. And a timeout called by Western. We've seen this a number of times where they'll take their offense off, put their special teams on, call a timeout, and then send the offense back out. And that's what they're doing. third and short, less than a yard. And the Western offense goes back on the field with a 60-14 lead.
An interesting decision at this point in the ball game.
Guelph having to scramble to get their defense back on the field too after setting up for the punt return. So third and less than a yard, Western. Kevin John comes up in behind the center. Loses his footing and looks like he might have the necessary yard. It's a 1.5 yard gain and a first down for the Mustangs.
It looks like he slipped trying to push off after he got the snap.
Todd Galloway had a quick shot of him, officially the interim head coach with Guelph this year, and getting his team to the Yates Cup has to bode well in interviews for the full-time position for next season.
That helps the resume. That helps the CV when you can put Yates Cup finalist on the top of it. Listen, let's be honest. This is a job that a lot of people were interested in, a lot of people want, because of the resources and the talent that's on the field. Todd has done a good job with the program this year.
There's Kevin John, play action pass. It's incomplete, intended for Malik Bessinger. Second down, Mustangs. And you know, the Guelph program is well funded. They have great facilities. Stu Lang, their former head coach, who led them to that Yates Cup title in 2015, has been a big financial supporter and a big supporter from a mentorship point of view as well to the program. So they've had a great recruiting year, a lot of young kids getting playing time this year, and they will be a force to be reckoned with in the years to come. Kevin John passing on 2nd and 10, lots of time across the middle, and it's complete to Gryphon Campbell, and he'll have another first down for Western. 20 yards the game.
When I mentioned John is one of the most impressive athletic quarterbacks that's been here, well, there you see the arm strength. There you see the zip that he has on the football. He's a guy who can make all of the throws, just hasn't had experience of making them in big games.
Gryphon Campbell with his second catch of the game. He's got 45 yards through the air and a touchdown. And you talk about Kevin John, he's a second-year player at King's College out of Mississauga. With one more year left in Chris Merchant's eligibility, he's the next one. Into the flats. Pass is complete to the fullback Spencer Nichols. And he's driven out of bounds. Gain of 11 and another first down for Western. So the backups now moving the chains against this Guelph defense.
They are, and you're getting a look at what this offense might look like in a couple of years with John at the helm. 6'1", 210, a guy out of Mississauga who was basically a red zone threat himself because he was so powerful in close that he was always scoring short yardage touchdowns. But as you can see, he can move the chains and throwing the ball as well.
First down, Western at the 11 of Guelph. Handing off to the weak side is Trey Humes. Humes trying to get outside. There's nowhere to go. And he's forced out of touch by the safety, Doton Akatepe. Gain of 3, maybe 4.
And Humes is another guy, really talented, highly recruited. It's a toss-up of this. The top two backs are the best duo that this program has seen because there's been a lot of great duos. Riva was a great back here. Macaulay was a great back here. But the depth when you look at the third guy, fourth guy, fifth guy on the depth chart, this is pretty special.
And that's Akatepe, the free safety, who is down. He has played one heck of a football game, a physical member of that Guelph defense today in a one-sided Yates Cup. The Mustangs up 60-14 with 5 minutes to go.
We are the University of Guelph, and we are committed to improving life.
Wowza. Wowza.
Wowza!
It's the Big Brown Savings Event at Food Basics. Save big on these brands and get new deals every Thursday. Wowza! Food Basics, always more for less.
Mustangs threatening to score again here in the 111th Yates Cup Championship on CHCH, presented by Milk to Go Sport. 2nd and 6 Mustangs with their backups in the game. These young guys wanting to prove their worth here today. And he'll hand it off to Trey Humes. Humes still on his feet, finally dragged down just shy of the goal line. Gain of 5, so 3rd and 1.
Humes had to work for those yards. And he's signaling to the sideline, come on, keep running it. Keep feeding it to me. I want to earn my Yates Cup hat. I want to earn my celebration. I want to get my name in the history books and get on the stat sheet.
It's a fine line whether you run it up.
Yeah.
You feel like you don't want to run it up against a team like Guelph, but then these kids have worked so hard to get to the goal line, you want to give them a chance.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is these support kids, I mean, they were lifting weights. They were running hills this summer. They want to be successful, to have success. I've been on the both sides of it. I've been destroyed by teams, often coached by Greg Marshall at McMaster, and I've had some success and been able to win big. When you're getting beat a lot, these Guelph guys, they don't take it personal. They just want to compete as well.
This will be the last game for Luke Coral, 5th-year linebacker from Linden, Ontario. Also the final game for 5th-year offensive tackle Eric Starcella, the sociology major from Cambridge, Ontario. Very powerful man. Looks like he's got a future in the CFL.
Yes, certainly.
But a real tough time for these players. There's Coral again, 53, the great linebacker who led the country in tackles this year and was a first-team OUA All-Star in his final game. And so Western, 3rd and 1, will attempt this field goal from 9 yards out. Mark Leggio, it's up and good. His first field goal of this football game as the Mustangs increase their margin 63-14. We talked about the young Mustangs. We've talked about the graduating Guelph Gryphons. And I just want to say I'm surrounded by Mustangs in this broadcast booth here this afternoon. Donovan, of course, an alum of the Mustangs. And how about the work of Jack Bukic, our spotter, who's a first-year kid, a wide receiver out of St. Thomas, who's done a terrific job as our spotter here this afternoon. And we sure hope you've got a bright future with the Mustangs ahead of you.
Yeah, he's been the MVP of the broadcast.
He has been the MVP of the broadcast.
But it's been great to call a game with you, Mark. This game has always been a great, spectacle of the sport, spectacle of the conference. It's the championship game. It's really a celebration of the game. The whole week has been that. And for you, someone who's called great football games, called Olympics, to lend your time and your voice to a product that we both care about and you have played, this has been awesome.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure working for the first time live with you, Donovan. And
thank you for carrying me.
No, not at all. It's been a great team effort up here today. Landers handing off. Tough running up the middle. Simon Kinda has had a great battle here today with this Western defense.
And still battling.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people would say, okay, you know what, I'm just going to keep myself healthy. But fighting through, making sure he secures that ball and doesn't fumble it. And we're at the 3-minute warning now.
Yeah, we'll take a break. We're at the 3-minute warning. The Yates Cup to be presented here this afternoon as the Mustangs in dominant form have a massive lead over Guelph.
where exceptional student athletes are born, where records are broken, where great plays are made, where school colors ignite passion, where champions prevail, where tradition is celebrated. Ontario University Athletics.
It's Leon's biggest sale of the year. This weekend only. Pay absolutely nothing. Not even the taxes or fees for 2 years. No money down, no interest, and no monthly payments until 2020. So why wait for Black Friday? Visit leons.ca for details.
Oh, hi. I'm Steve. And I'm here to tell you that State Farm Canada is now Desjardins Insurance. They're still the same great agents. Same great service and commitment to our clients.
Hi, Steve.
Hi. Same neighbor. Same neighborhood. Same coffee. My daughter plays hockey over here. Same day, same time. New sign, same place. Same team. Hi, Emma. New plant.
State Farm Canada is now Desjardins Insurance. Learn more at desjardinagents.com.
Celebrate the best of the season with festive specials for all at Swiss Chalet. Our famous 100% Canadian fresh chicken served with stuffing, cranberry sauce, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card. Any day, any way. Get festive at Swiss Chalet.
The 111th Yates Cup on CHCH is brought to you by Milk to Go Sport, by Wilson, the official football of the OUA, and by IG Wealth Management. 2:57 to go, and this is the Milk to Go Sport play of the game.
Yeah, follows Joseph as the lead blocker on the QB draw, gets to the corner, gets in the end zone. Merchant has been a menace with both his arm and his legs.
Merchant with 3 touchdowns on the ground here today, and arguably one of his best games of his career here at Western. I'm sure his performance as MVP of the Vanier Cup is right up there as well, but we have seen him at his best running the ball and throwing the ball today.
Yeah, and just such a cool, calm demeanor. He's just, and I say this about him, I say this about Fraser Sopik, he's just a football player. If you put him at any position, he would just compete and be smart, and that's why he's had such a great game. And I should say, Sopik, Merchant, you know what they have in common? Grads of St. Andrews College.
There you go.
Great football high school. I may or may not have gone there myself, but clearly the recruiting for Western out of St. Andrews is looking pretty good.
There you go, a plug for your alma mater.
Yeah, they've had some okay football players, Michael Folds, Yannick Haru.
They sure have. 2nd and 7 for the Gryphons with 2:21 to go, trying to maybe put it in the end zone one last time.
We talked about those 50-year seniors that are on the field, that are watching the clock tick away. There's for some of them the last minutes of football that they're going to play. I really believe that.
Bellick makes the catch and then lost it on the tackle. And they're going to call it an incomplete pass, it looks like. And 3rd down for Guelph.
Well, that is fortunate and generous. These 5th-year guys, they're not going to be able to be consoled after this game. But after they have a warm shower, a guy like Eric Starzella, they were part of one of the best classes of Guelph football history, to go to multiple Yates Cups, to win a Yates Cup, something that the program hasn't done as often as Western. They're foundational in this program and foundational in changing it. And when they are winning more Yates Cups in the future, people will look at them as the forefathers of the change, of the success that Stu Lang has ushered in here.
That's a great point. You know, this is their 4th Yates Cup appearance in the last 7 years.
Yeah.
This is a program, a winning program. They won this title game in 2015, a 23-17 come-from-behind victory over Western. And they got back to this game when you think back to mid-season when they were 2-3. There weren't a lot of people thinking Guelph was going to be a Yates Cup finalist, but they put together 5 straight wins. They solved their running back injury problems. This kid JP Simakinda became a revelation, and they've got a lot of good things to build upon for next season.
Forget about when they were 2-3. On the last week of the season, in the last game when they were down late, it looked like they were going to miss the playoffs. And forget about the flashy uniforms and the trips to Florida and all the resources and the Instagram videos that go viral. There's a lot of flash with this program, but there's a lot of heart and resilience. And I think that's the bedrock of what they're trying to do moving forward.
3rd down, 7 to go. As Landers steps into the pocket, throws down the middle, and it's knocked down. Intended for Cade Bellick, and so the Gryphons will turn the ball over on downs with 1:56 to play. And talk about that last game of the regular season against Waterloo. There were like 16 different playoff scenarios. It's, you know, the OUA has been so tight. You know, everybody else besides Western, so competitive. And they won that game 47-44 in double overtime. I mean, had they lost that game, there was a chance they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, the parity has been crazy. You needed like advanced calculus, which I did not take when I was here at Western, to figure out all of the tiebreaker scenarios and the ramifications of what were happening. And there were good football teams. Laurier was ranked in the top 10 to start this year. A really good football team that played Western tough, that played Guelph tough, that missed the playoffs. Queens, a good football team, because there is so much parity across the conference. Now you're saying, what are you talking about parity? The score is 63-14. Make no mistake, what we're seeing in the guys in purple is a generational team, a collection of great talent that won a Vanier, and then they recruited outstanding off of that. This is a team that people are going to talk about for a long time. I've seen a lot of good Western teams. This is a great one.
It's a team for the ages, no question. Yeah. I mean, they're putting together a 2nd consecutive unbeaten season. They will be 10-0 with a victory here today, and 2 games to go to try to win that Vanier Cup for a 2nd consecutive year. Kevin John keeps the football, and he will scramble outside for a 1st down. Think about that, putting together back-to-back unbeaten seasons. I mean, if that happens, that will be special.
Yeah, no question. And it just takes a quarterback injury, and they've been able to keep this guy healthy, and he's been able to somehow, like Gumby, just roll with hits because he takes some crazy hits and stay healthy and stay running the football. It just takes an injury to a star quarterback where you lose a couple games here or there, or just bad game management, and that hasn't happened over the last 2 years.
He took some shots. He took 5 shots in the first quarter last week in the semifinal against Carleton. The doctors was looking at him on the sideline. I mean, there was a question about whether he'd go back in, and he did. He's a rugged competitor. As Trey Humes dances his way, zigzagging downfield for another Western 1st down. And teams watching here today look at their 3rd-string running back running with abandon here today and realize that the next wave is still to come for this Western football team.
And other running backs, present, former, are watching this Western offensive line, and they're jealous. They're saying, man, I would love to run behind a line like that and get clean to the 2nd level. And Western and Laval, the old school kind of dominant power in Western, the new school dominant power in Laval. We saw them in the Vanier last year. We could see them in the Vanier this year again. There is elite football being played in youth sports, and it's those 2 programs setting the standard.
And you know firsthand how hard this football team works. I mean, they're at practice by 4:30, and many nights they aren't leaving until 10 o'clock after they get through video sessions. They do not leave anything uncovered in terms of their preparation. As we go to the out-of-town scoreboard, and there's the final in the Loney Bowl. St. FX winning there. In the 3rd quarter, Laval still ahead of Montreal in a very defensive battle. And early on in the Hardy Cup, it's a 1-0 lead for Calgary in our Centre out-of-town scoreboard. And should Calgary win, they will come here to play Western in the semifinal.
And Calgary's a real good football team, haven't lost yet as well. So I'm interested to see that matchup. It'll be a good one. But you know, when Laval and Montreal are playing, take the under. It's going to be a defensive football game. And these are the shots that you see, the yin and yang of emotions. On one side, celebration, jubilation. On the other side, you see some upset faces.
The clock ticks to 0. A command performance by the Western Mustangs as they prevail over the Guelph Gryphons 63-14 in the 111th Yates Cup. The 6-time OUA Coach of the Year, Greg Marshall, across to shake hands with Todd Galloway, the interim head coach of the Gryphons, and his staff. The Mustangs have been dominant from the start of this season. They remain unbeaten, and they have 2 games to go to complete a back-to-back unbeaten season. Luke Corral, the 5th-year veteran, and consolation on the Guelph sideline as they just didn't have enough in what has been a resilient season for the Gryphons here today in the Yates Cup. And Chris Merchant, what a day for him, completing 18 of 21 passes for 315 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. He rushed for 3 more touchdowns, 72 yards on 7 carries.
Yeah, it was a perfect performance. Other than the interception in the end zone, he made so many smart decisions with the football, both running and passing. He is really the straw that stirs the drink for the Western Mustangs offense, and we saw it again here today.
There's Greg Marshall, an emotional embrace with Luke Corral.
Yeah, it's mutual respect. It's knowing that this is a guy who he recruited and didn't get, but a guy who he respects because he had to prepare for him week in and week out every year. And now he's saying, I respect the way you handle your business.
That's a powerful moment, isn't it?
It certainly is. And I mean, this is a powerful game. You put so much of your effort, time, intensity into this. And then when you're a 50-year guy, if you're not playing afterwards, all of a sudden it's gone. And even though, you know, I'm a graduate of Western, empathetically, I actually feel for the Guelph guys because I've been in their shoes. I've lost a big game. I've lost the Yates Cup. I understand what that means when everyone associates you with being a football player and all of a sudden it's taken from you. What they will not be taking from them are the lessons that they learned from the game. The resiliency that they showed is going to show themselves in other parts of their life. This Guelph program should be really, really proud.
Greg Marshall looking emotional after his meeting with Luke Corral, who played his final game here today for the Guelph Gryphons. And the traditional handshake after every single football game. These teams line up in a great display of sportsmanship. Harry McMaster in the first half with a terrific start, going over 100 yards in receiving. As these Mustangs offer best wishes to the Gryphons, and they'll be back at work tomorrow, going over video and getting ready for the next game.
Get some treatment, get some runs in so that lactic acid kind of comes out of the legs, and then get in the film room.
All right, let's go down to the field level now, where a couple of QBs are set to talk. Marshall Ferguson now with the player of the game, Chris Merchant.
Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it. Down here with Chris. Chris, when you look at this game, 18 of 21, 300-plus yards for yourself. You run for 3, you throw for a couple. Is this your best game as a Mustang? Because it certainly feels like you delivered in the biggest moment.
I try not to look at it game to game, but it definitely it felt like things were flowing for me. So it's just a credit to the guys around me. The line gave me a lot of time. The receivers were catching some hard catches. So it was it's hard to put into words, but I'm definitely happy with my performance, and hopefully we'll just get better from here.
It's a year that was filled with a lot of pressure for you guys, knowing that you're probably the top dog here in the OUA. You get an opportunity to play this game at home in front of the fans that love you so much. What does it mean to finish the job in the OUA, knowing you still have a chance to win back-to-back Vanier Cups, but also today breaking the OUA record for consecutive wins in the OUA?
It feels awesome. It's just a credit to all the coaches and the players that put in work day by day. All the film we watch, you don't really see how much work we put in, but it's starting to pay off. And again, we're not done yet, so we just got to go week by week and continue to get better.
You got a Yates Cup to go celebrate with. Get over there.
Appreciate it.
Let's throw it back up to Mark. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Marshall. Chris Merchant and the Mustangs winning back-to-back Yates Cups as Greg Marshall gets set to try to make it back-to-back Vanier Cups. An absolute dominant performance here today as they defeat the Guelph Gryphons 63-14. Stay with us. When we come back, we will decorate the champions. The Yates Cup presentation when we return.
Opportunity is everywhere. Like here and here. See? Opportunity. everywhere. About to be parents. Meeting the parents. And this driver, logging out to watch his kid hit one out of the... Opportunity is everywhere. All you have to do to find it is get out. Here.
Where's the best place to be when you need fast cash? Pretty much anywhere. Jan got a Cash Money loan over lunch. Same-day cash in minutes. Ben connects for a loan from Cash Money at his office. He gets same-day cash in his account from Interac e-Transfer. Tanya is right at home with a laptop loan. She got same-day cash from Interac also. No matter where you are, at home, work, or on the go, when you need same-day cash, go to cashmoney.ca.
Cash money, love my cash money. Ay.
Wowza.
Wowza.
Wowza!
It's the Big Brown Savings Event at Food Basics. Save big on these brands and get new deals every Thursday. Wowza! Food Basics, always more for less.
Every year, hundreds of thousands of Canadians head south to live abroad during winter. These travelers call themselves snowbirds. Several laws and regulations continue to threaten this retirement dream for Canadians. The Canadian Snowbird Association is a national not-for-profit advocacy group owned and operated by over 100,000 members. The CSA's mandate is to protect and defend the rights and privileges of Canadian travelers by lobbying for fair access to government services. Membership is only $25 a year. As a member, you will receive a subscription to CSA News Magazine, a Snowbird information kit, low-cost currency exchange rates, and much more. Call now and get a free copy of the CSA's Traveler's Report Card and learn how your government is helping or hindering your freedom to travel. Preserve your rights as a Canadian when you travel abroad. Join the CSA today. Call now.
Direct your attention now to the southwest corner of TD Stadium. It's time to present the Yates Cup to the champions for the 32nd time, the Western Mustangs. Here's Marshall Ferguson.
Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it. Mustangs fans, how you feeling? I'd like to now get the Western Mustangs Athletic Director, Christine Stapleton, standing right here to present the Dalt White Award to the Lululemon Player of the Game. If you were watching the game, he was running, he was passing, he was all over the place. 18 of 21, 300-plus yards. Chris Merchant. I'll get head coach Greg Marshall to pop up here at the front of the stage for me for a moment. Never gets old for you, does it?
No, it never gets old. This is a great feeling. We had a great team. You know what? Great fans, and what a great game today. It was awesome.
You've had a lot of good Mustangs teams. Last year was a great team that wins the Vanier Cup for you. What is this team? Because it certainly feels great.
They're writing their own story. This is the 2018 team, and we've got a wonderful group of guys that are a continuation of last year. But this is a new team with a new mission, and I'm so proud of the way they played today.
And now we would like to be able to welcome up is the captains of the Western Mustangs up here on stage alongside us, as we have the OUA president, Scott Barker, as well as Milk to Go Sport Marketing Associates, Stephanie Ekmijian and Emily Bukaya. As it's time to award the 2018 championship banner and the Yates Cup to the captains in 2018. It's the 111th Yates Cup. There was one team above everyone else the remainder of the year, and they're number one today, the Western Mustangs. Congratulations to the 2018 Milk to Go Sport Yates Cup champions, the Western Mustangs. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Hope you had a great time. Throw it back up to the broadcast booth. Mark Lee, Donovan Bennett.
All right, Marshall, the Mustangs reveling in their glory here today, and well-deserved in an absolute dominant 63-14 victory in this Yates Cup over Guelph.
It was dominant. It was perfect. It was exactly how the coach scripted it. The only thing they got wrong is they tried to do the chant on stage and said, let's save that for the locker room. But they're going back to the locker room playing another game, because on both sides of the ball, they didn't make mistakes. They were sound, and they did what they do. Stop the run and run the ball aggressively, just like their head coach.
You know, and I asked you this question off the top of the broadcast. They're unbeaten now, 10-0 this year. Is there any reason to believe anybody can stop them?
It's going to be tough. I mean, Calgary is an outstanding team, recruit at a high level as well, and you can never bet against Laval, especially in a revenge game. But as far as repeating, this is the best team coming out of the OUA that I've seen in a long time, and I think that includes the team that won the Vanier last year.
Well, they win back-to-back Yates Cups, and they are in pursuit of back-to-back Vanier Cups. 10-0 so far this year. Another perfect season in the mix for this Western Mustang crew that has retooled after going unbeaten and winning it all last year, as they celebrate with the Yates Cup, winning the oldest football trophy in North America for the 32nd time in team history, the most by any team in the OUA. As Greg Marshall said, this team is writing its own story, defeating Guelph handily here today, 63-14. A masterpiece of football. Joseph with 3 touchdowns on the ground, through the air. Perchant passing for 1, for 2 touchdowns, and running for 3 more. What a day for the Mustangs, a dominant day as they continue to move on unbeaten here in 2018. For Donovan Bennett, Marshall Ferguson, Jake Reinhardt, Andy Fantuz, our director, Jeff Mather, and our producer, Michael A. Charbon, I'm Mark Lee saying thanks for watching, and so long from the 111th Yates Cup Championship.
Conwave is knocking out the competition again. Introducing the Conwave Triple Play. Get your home phone with unlimited local calling, unlimited internet, and TV with over 75 channels, all for only $89.95 a month.
That's right. Get all 3 services: home phone, unlimited internet, and TV with over 75 channels, including TSN, Sportsnet, W Network, CNN, and more. All for only $89.95 a month. Call now and get up to 6 months absolutely free and no charge for installation.
So let me get this straight. I get a home phone line,
unlimited internet, so no more overage charges.
TV with over 75 channels, all for only $89.95 a month?
Now that's a great deal.
It's time to knock out the big phone and cable companies with Conwave.
Call 1-866-518-5321. That's 1-866-518-5321. Call now.
Moment that I had always envisioned.
It's a dream she's had for as long as she can remember.
What happens in the Good Fairy dream?
So when I was 2 years old, I went up to my mom and asked her, when is the Good Fairy gonna come with her magic wand and change my penis into a vagina?
You were 2.
Yeah.
For the now 18-year-old Jazz Jennings, that dream is about to become a reality.
This is something I've always known that I wanted.
Jazz, right up here, Jazz. Jazz is arguably the most famous transgender teen in the country, carrying the torch on behalf of trans kids' rights for the last decade. Her work recognized from GLAAD to the Human Rights Campaign.
The hatred, cruelty, bullying, rejection, and discrimination must stop.
Known for her relentless advocacy from gender-neutral bathrooms to integrating school sports, she's tackled some of the most divisive issues head-on.
You've been so public about your entire path. Does that make it easier or harder to be a trans teen, do you think?
It just depends, I guess. I think for me, I've always been so honest about who I am as a person, and being transgender, I feel like it's something that I couldn't hide no matter what. There's my stretcher.
She's about to undergo her gender confirmation surgery.
I would say this is the final step of transitioning.
A procedure that, in her case, essentially refashions male genitalia into the female equivalent.
Thank you. This is really the last thing that will validate my identity as a woman. There's nothing else after this. I just get to be myself, be in the body that I've always wanted, and then I can live my life as just Jazz.
And so what do you look forward to the most the moment you wake up from the surgery?
I think just looking at my vagina for the first time, it's gonna be like a new birth, you know?
What do you say to your critics who would argue it's TMI? I don't need this much information about bottom surgery.
Yeah, it is personal and uncomfortable for some individuals, but how are we gonna learn if someone doesn't step up to the plate and share their story?
It's been a long and winding road, one we've documented for more than a decade.
Hi. Can I come in your house? Yes.
The Jennings first opened up to Barbara Walters back in 2007.
Your child was born a boy, and now you call him a girl. Yes?
Yes.
At the time, Jazz was just 6 years old, one of the youngest documented cases of a child transitioning from male to female.
If people say to you, are you a boy or a girl? What do you say? A girl.
The Jennings, who have 3 older kids, faced backlash for allowing Jazz at such a young age to present publicly as trans. More than 10 years later, it's something they still find themselves defending.
You've had to put up with a lot of withering criticism. What, after all these years, do you say to people who still have those doubts?
I'd rather have a living daughter than a dead son. And I know that if I didn't let this child be who she wanted to be, there's a good chance she wouldn't be with us today.
There are some people who will forever think, well, maybe her parents brainwashed her. Maybe she was too young to know. Maybe.
I really, really hate it. This was all me. This is how I felt. They just embraced and loved me for who I was.
Over the years, we've checked in with Jazz, that precocious little girl who grew into a confident preteen, navigating the awkward middle school years.
I don't care what he thinks about me, if it's bad. If it's good, then I love him, so yeah.
But with adolescence looming, Jazz, along with her parents, decided to use blockers to medically pause male puberty.
They block any facial hair I might get or armpit hair, maybe, like just so I don't look like a boy, or even getting a deep voice also.
Then, on the verge of high school, the female hormone.
So this is the estrogen pill that I take. I start getting breasts, softer features, you know, everything more feminine, and it's what I've always wanted.
She calls it a life-saving pill.
I have no regrets because it allowed me to prevent myself from going through male puberty. I feel like that's why my dysphoria hasn't been so bad, is because I look in the mirror and I see the girl that I am on the inside, but not every transgender person has the opportunity to do that.
But that surgery would be complicated because of those hormone blockers, the same ones, Jazz says, helped save her life.
Being on the blockers is something that I don't regret at all. The only, downside to it was that I didn't have enough growth down below, so there wasn't enough tissue to work with when it came to the surgery, and it was very challenging to find a doctor, a surgeon, who was willing to perform the operation on me just because I'm such a difficult case.
Jazz and her family sought a brand new, groundbreaking technique.
They're using the tissue I have, the peritoneum. I say it's going to be like a patchwork vagina, a Franken vagina. So yeah, as long as it's functional, that's all that matters.
As Jazz makes her way into that life-changing surgery, she hopes that if successful, it'll pave the way for the next generation of trans girls seeking the same procedure.
Is there one thing you're most looking forward to after the surgery?
Wearing leggings.
Love you. Love you.